All right.
What's up, everyone? I got a pretty special podcast tonight, and a guest that I've collaborated with quite a bit, Dr. Hotha. He's live from Saudi Arabia. Welcome back to the podcast, brother.
Love being back, man. A lot of things happened since last time, huh?
A lot of things have happened. A lot of things have happened. And yeah, man, we got a lot to discuss. What's going on with Saudi Arabia, occupied Iran, Israel? Will Trump strike? Is the Trump strike imminent? Um, how is it in the neighborhood for you out there? Um, just before I get into this clip about Khamenei and
Mm,
MBS, I would love to just see what you think about it.
sure.
What's your take right now on the atmosphere in Saudi Arabia? Are you waiting for Trump to strike? Are you waiting for Israel to strike? Or are you
Yeah.
guys like, what's the mood in general in Riyadh? In
Well,
general?
you mean the people in general?
Yeah, just in
The
general. Like,
well, there's a lot of resentment, obviously, to the Wilayat al-Faqih and the Islamic Republic in general. I mean, that resentment is not gone. It never probably will go away. We feel like it has been a burden on us, the region. We got attacked in Aramco by people supported by this regime, right? We got attacked in Jeddah by people supported by this regime. We had to defend ourselves from 300 rockets. Those rockets came from that regime. Lebanon is a story, Iraq is a story, Yemen is a story. So that in the back of the head is still there. I mean, the normal guy in the street will probably want the regime to get what it deserves, right? This. There's no doubt about that. However, when you want to talk on a true political discussion with someone that sort of understands it and in the interest of Saudi Arabia. Um, we did have a reapproachment with this regime, and we're standing by that. Like we're standing by the agreement we had with them, and we have no say on who rules Iran. Let's be honest. We are not in a position to tell the Iranians this guy is better or that guy is better. That's an Iranian issue. However, you asked me a question. What do I feel like about the Trump possible attack? Um, I'm thinking about Saudi Arabia and the GCC. I'm thinking about the retaliation or possible retaliation the regime might have on not Saudi Arabia, but on other Gulf countries. We don't have an American base that will shoot rockets into Iran. Qatar has, Kuwait has, UAE has, Bahrain has. Bahrain and the UAE, I'm sorry, Bahrain even didn't mention that they're not allowing the Americans to use their air bases and their land for an American attack. They didn't even mention that. The rest did declare, they don't want the Americans to use their land and air. So what happened last time with Qatar? The American base in Qatar was attacked by the Iranians, but that was symbolic. If this is going to be the sort of American attack that is trying to remove the regime, then the retaliation is not going to be like the last one on Qatar. It's going to be serious. And I mean, I don't think we in Saudi Arabia have any fear, to be honest. There's no fear on Saudi lands. However, I do have issues with Qatar, Bahrain, and the UAE. That is very possible that there will be a retaliation, especially Bahrain and the UAE. That is very, very possible. Both are Israeli allies. Both have relationships with Israel. Bahrain didn't even declare its land and air not allowed for the Americans to use. So, that's an issue. We'll see.
yeah, I mean, it looks like MBS is getting closer to Al Tahini and Qatar, right? Is that just like a blossoming friendship? You think the leader of Qatar is just winning over MBS?
Listen, people don't understand the GCC well, and this is something I really, thank you for asking me this. The GCC is a relationship between six countries regarding their economies and the idea of an open economy between six countries, and that's the case, right? There is no borders when it comes to trade between these countries. It's open trade. I don't need a visa. I can live in Dubai without needing a visa or residency. I can live, like any other Emirati, but I can't have some of the perks that they have, right? And this is the same thing if somebody wants to live in Saudi Arabia, they can't have some of the perks, but they can live without renewal of visa, whatever. I can own land, business, etc. The other thing is the security of these countries, is the national security of Saudi Arabia, national security of the UAE. That has nothing to do with the endeavors and the adventures of certain GCC countries in Sudan, in Libya, in Yemen, in its relationship with Iran, its relationship with Israel. These countries are sovereign. They have their own sovereign, vision and pathway. However, when it comes to their own safety and the economy, the open trade between them, that's the only thing we truly agree on. Now, having said that, as easy as you see these countries, these smaller GCC countries, try to have some adversary with Saudi Arabia, at the same time, as easy as you see them go back to the fold real fast. And Qatar was one of them. Qatar, and by the way, Kuwait in 1960 was one of them too. People don't know this. In 1960, Kuwait had an embassy for the Soviet Union. Saudi Arabia in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s was aligned with the United States 100% on anti-Soviet, anti-communist sort of vision in the region. We were really threatened by communism. The conservative, branch of our country was really, aggressive against communism. So we saw communism as a threat, and Kuwait opened the Soviet Union embassy in Kuwait. They tried to prove themselves, tried to say, hey, we're independent, hey, we're sovereign, to a degree that it got them in a war with Iraq. So what I'm trying to say is it happened Kuwait 1960, it happened with Qatar, the recent one, and it's happening now with the UAE. What is the common denominator here? Smaller GCC countries trying to sort of prove their independence and sovereignty for the bigger brother by, going against it sometimes. However, at the end of the day, the common denominator is also that these countries come back to the fold. And we saw it with Qatar, we saw it with Kuwait, and we're going to see it with the UAE. And I can bet my money on that. So I'm not really concerned. I see the UAE as a country that could be a mediator between Saudi Arabia and Israel or others, instead of being an adversary between, with Saudi Arabia. So I think you're going to see things between these two countries change very fast.
Yeah, I mean, so like in general, do you like in Saudi, like MBS and like like the power players,
Mhm.
in Riyadh, do they like their POV? Is a weak Islamic Republic and occupied Iran more dangerous than a collapsing one?
Um, okay, so we don't have a problem with the end goal of having a Iran that is prosper and led by somebody that is not trying to prepare for the Mahdi, right? Like nobody disagrees with you on that, right? MBS said, in the past, it's very hard to deal with Iran. Like you cannot deal with someone that is trying to prepare a fertile environment for the coming of the Mahdi. Like how do you talk to this guy? How do you talk about the shared interest between these countries? It's very hard, right? Um, However, I do agree that we want a neighbor that is pragmatic, just like how the Shah was in the past. The problem is not that. We agree on the end solution. The problem is how do we get there? Because we were promised in Iraq an end solution that we never got. We were promised in Libya an end solution that we never got. Right? We were promised in Syria to get an end solution, but thankfully we're at least closer. But we also didn't get there yet. And how many years has that passed? So I don't want to. I don't because Iran is going to be 10 times bigger than all of these, right? And it's across the pond again. Very proud people. You have so many minorities there, which makes it even messier. It's not something you. I don't want this to be a humongous Lebanon, right? And and if you can promise me, hey, just close your eyes for 10 days, and we're gonna get pre 1979 Iran, I would close it for 20 seconds, not 10, right? However, I'm afraid of that process not getting there, and I'm not willing to take the risk and being aggressive to get there. I think we should be patient, we should be cautious, we should be wise.
So let's say it's 2046. Okay, 2 decades later, 2046. Let's say the IRGC, Islamic Republic, collapses this year at some point, which looks fairly, good chance. Um, there's a free Iran, normalized Israel, Saudi friendship alliance. There's an integrated GCC. What's the role now of Saudi? Like is it a balancer? Is it a leader? Well, what is it? What is it?
I think it is the country that is um, a mediator between Muslim countries. It holds Mecca and Medina. It has to. Um, it will try to reform the extremist in the peripheries. It will try to represent how Islam truly is, the proper way, the stable way, the peaceful way. It cannot be Saudi Arabia has always been the adult in the room. And I say this not because I'm a Saudi. I say this because, you can't say otherwise. Iraq Iran war, adult in the room, right? Iraq Kuwait war, adult in the room. Even the Syrian revolution, adult in the room. I mean, it's every single time we were the adult in the room. Today with Iran, I think we are the most, the elder in the room. I don't think we're trying to be aggressive, and we're not taking chances. We're very conservative in that. So I believe that that role won't change. It doesn't really matter. I mean, Turkey is a country that has a bigger military. Pakistan is a country that has a bigger military. Egypt, at one point, it was a country that had a bigger military. Some of these, Turkey has, in the past, now we have the same economy, somewhat, but in the past, had a bigger economy, right? Iran in the past had a bigger economy. It didn't change anything. Saudi Arabia was always Saudi Arabia. It really didn't change anything. So I think nothing will really change, to be honest. I
I mean, do
think
you
I
think?
think we'll be better. I think we will be in a better position than we are now. We
I
don't.
mean,
We don't. Our investments will be easier to invest in Saudi Arabia for international business.
by the way, I sent you to just a quick note. Uh, about to play a clip. I sent you the link, Dr.
Mhm.
Hotha, and thank you, Jamie. Thank you, American for USA, for streaming. Everyone, if you like the tweet, if you like the stream, please share it, like it. That's basically our paycheck here. We're not, that's how you can help us. If you enjoy it, we're going to go over quite a bit of things today. This is a pretty serious podcast. I hope that you guys walk away with a ton of value. My family fled Iran. Dr. Hotha is in Saudi Arabia. Like we're actually, going to have a, fair. I truly want you guys to walk away with a better understanding of how the Iranian Gulf and Saudi occupied Iran and Israel and what's going on there. What's the atmosphere like? From guys who actually their families are from the Middle East. Jamie in the comments says this is one of the most informative streams on the Iran issue. Hey, brother, thank you so much. My family actually, Dr. Holt is coming right back. My family actually fled Iran. So my grandfather was a major general. He was in charge of Mashhad in the late 1970s. And he was pretty, one of the military leaders that worked with the Shah. And yeah, man, he had to flee. He had to flee Iran, and that's pretty much how this all came out. I was born in the United States of America. I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, and that's the thing. So Dr. Holt actually studied in the United States. Dr. Holt, how many years did you spend in the United States?
I was a child there. I was there from when I was 3, 4 years old up to 13 years old. But we would go every year, in summer back to Saudi. But yeah, I was there accompanying my family, being there for 10 years in
When
the
I
United
was
States. Yeah.
when I was going to school in DC, in a suburb, Northern Virginia, that I remember quite a bit of Saudis I got to meet that
Mhm.
were there, and because a lot of Saudis I remember would go to Washington D.C. for college,
Right.
so I met quite a bit. So let me ask you, man. So back to your earlier, I'm about to play the clip here about what's going on
Mhm.
with Saudi and occupied Iran with genocidal psychopath Ali Khamenei. But before I get into that, I want to ask you. You made an interesting point when you talked about MBS, right? Like how MBS is he views Ali Khamenei as someone that's very tough to negotiate with. How do you negotiate with a leader of Iran that thinks like apocalypse is actually a good thing?
I think, well, we managed to do it. I don't know how, but we did manage to do it. The
Yeah,
Omanis are known. The Omanis are known for their mediation. They actually mediated the Saudi-Iranian rapprochement. China came in later to sort of give you the guarantee later, but that sort of rapprochement started mainly from Oman. I think we said, listen, the Lord of the Rings story. That's no. We don't have a problem with that. You can believe in what you want to believe. We'll believe what we will believe. However, let's talk about, this part, which is, our relationship as neighbors, regardless of, when the Mahdi is coming and the fertile environment you're trying to create. That is another subject. We don't want to talk about that. You can have that, but we want to talk about the other stuff, like, the rest of, reality, about, how we can deal with each other as neighbors. You don't want to get attacked. We are fed up with your, involvement in the region. Let's just make a deal. By the way, the deal was made during a time when Iran was desperate. The regime was desperate, and it was a very good time. And I mean, everybody got what they want. Some would say, is it a liability on us now? No, I don't think it's a liability. If the Americans would attack Iran, they're gonna attack it. They don't need an approval from Saudi Arabia, or lack of approval from Saudi Arabia. However, we are trying to convince the Americans to not do it the Iraq way. That's it.
All right. Yeah, that sounds all right. All right, guys. So I'm about to play this clip here. This is basically saying USA's. It's a clip from a program. USA's desperate move as Saudi Arabia. And you'll hear it pretty soon. About to go into it. So it's talking about. So it's basically saying Trump arms Middle East. $3 billion F-15 jet lifeline. Saudis lock it in. Patriot missiles stack up in the desert. $9 billion shield to fight back Iran. Is that true? False? What's your view on that?
When the Minister of Defense, Prince Khalid bin Salman, he went to the United States recently, and he locked in a few air defense missiles and air defense technology from the United States, Patriot missiles, whatnot, and that was big. And yeah, we listen. You cannot trust anybody. We are, on our toes, very careful. Our security is non-negotiable. So yeah, this is true. It's absolutely true. We don't want to be surprised, Nima. We really don't want to be surprised. But again, as told you, I don't think the threat is on Saudi Arabia. The real threat is on the smaller GCC countries, Qatar, Bahrain, and the UAE, to be honest with you. And Saudi Arabia, by the way, made it very clear. Any attack on Qatar or the other GCC countries is, an attack on Saudi Arabia, and it's part of the GCC sort of security. So I think that is what, this is how we might get sucked in, and I wish we don't.
You know how China's been getting involved in here. Do you think it's like why would you say Iran and Saudi were talking before China showed up, and then it seemed like China sort of got the credit? You think that's accurate, or you think what do you?
Well, yeah, I think it's accurate, but well deserved. I mean, China came in as the guarantor, and that was its role. It wasn't a secret at the time, but you know how media takes that and sort of, they forgot Oman. But the fact of the matter, if you go read about it, the fact of the matter, it was the Omanis, for months trying to find a solution, because the Omanis are between the two. The Omanis have the also Yemen problem. They want to fix that desperately as well, and they were in that position. They have taken that role, always a mediator sort of role. They've always had a good relationship with the regime and Iran. So they made it happen. They made it happen. However, China came in as the guarantor. China said, "Listen, I have these investments in both countries. I buy the most oil from Saudi Arabia. I buy from Iran. Its biggest seller, it sells its biggest customer is also China. China wants to make sure that these points of sale are safe, and wants to give confidence to both of these countries that I'm going to buy from you for a very long time if you guys stop fighting." And I think that was a very important guarantee. And it just solidifies the agreement that was, made, by Oman in the beginning. That was, finessed by Oman.
All right, all right. So going into this clip here, uh, here we are. Trump's calling Saudi a great ally. The U.S. approved a potential $3 billion sale to sustain Saudi Arabia's F-15 fighter fleet.
Yeah.
The US said
Nima, we're getting almost everything we want from the United States. It's never been that way. We always had some resistance, but we're basically getting whatever we want, and that's a good thing. We're buying, whatever we want to buy. I want to say something. even though the UAE normalized with Israel, because this is something people don't understand. They tend to believe the United States will risk its own national interest for another country like Israel. Yeah, Israel is a very reliable ally to the United States, no doubt. Some American presidents will consider it, the biggest or closest ally to the United States. No problem. I consider it an alt account. That's another discussion. However, I believe that the United States will always look out for the United States first and all, and first and last. And even though the UAE normalized with Israel, they were refused to get the F-35. They don't get the sort of toys that we can get. And there's a reason for that. The reason is the leverage. The reason is, why does Saudi Arabia get these kind of things easier than, let's say, other countries like the UAE? It's because we have other options that we made clear we might take. Recently, before this, Nima, a few months ago, I think 1 month ago, we just received Chinese slash Pakistani jets that were bought by loans that were not paid by Pakistan. There's a lot of loans Pakistan has not paid back to Saudi. And the Pakistani said, listen, how about we give you, I think they're called the J1s or something. We can't give you the cash, we'll give you that. And it did perform very well against the Rafael in the Indian-Pakistan war. That is a fact. So we said, okay, great. And after that, this happened. So I'm just saying that I think that we never not want to buy American weapons. They are the best weapons in the world by far, no competition. However, we're not shy to sort of see the other option if we have to.
Yeah, I mean, Pakistan keeps getting bailed out, right? I mean, it doesn't seem like that they do. They just keep getting money. I mean, if not,
Their nuclear program would never have been established if not of King Faisal during that time, and that kind of balanced the region between Pakistan and India. Or Pakistan would have been part of India if that nuclear capability was not the fact.
Yeah, I mean, Pakistan. So, like, do you in general, does Saudi Arabia in general view Pakistan as an important ally? I mean, I would imagine it does, right?
It could be a very important ally. It is a country that is part of our defense, agreement of mutual defense, which is huge. We don't have that kind of relationship with any, non-GCC country. So this is a big relationship. The closest thing to it is our defense agreement with the United States. So I mean, yeah, what some Saudis might fear is the reliability for them to sort of be there when needed. However, I think we are hedging our bets that they will, and there's no reason for us to think otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line though is like Pakistan has so much debt, right? It has so much remittances, bailouts. It's constant. I mean, it's not exactly the productivity is not exactly amazing compared to other countries, and their exports aren't that good. Their currency is basically in the doghouse, right? Basically in a doghouse, and their inflation there is crushing the Pakistanis, man. It's crushing them, and so basically, yeah, man, they couldn't pay back. Their loans get rolled over. They just pledge these assets.
That is very true, and there's a lot of corruption. However,
then they just
that is
use
absolutely true. That is absolutely true, and
they use the military hardware, like with Saudi, like you just said. To your point, they just used it as a bargaining chip, essentially, right? Like basically, they use.
Okay, so what you said is true regarding their economy and their infrastructure and their development, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. However, their military is very capable, and it's very, very built well, very trained well, very serious. I mean, they have India to deal with, and they've been a very, very strong barrier against India. India is not a joke, right? They've been trained, they've been battle tested. They are capable in that manner. They are capable, and by proof, not by assumptions. So from that standpoint, they are absolutely a fantastic friend to have. Nobody will deny that. The other aspect that you mentioned was the economy, the development, et cetera, corruption. That is so true, and that is a problem for Pakistan. There's a problem for Pakistanis. However, I will remind you, Nima, that is a problem. Once solved, you would see Pakistan turn into something else very fast.
Unknown caller.
Yeah.
Is that you or me?
Yeah, I got a spam call.
That's fine.
You're good.
That's fine. Yeah, I just feel that if that is not a huge obstacle. And if that is fixed, you're going to see Pakistan just turn around into something completely different. I thought your ringtone would be "We Are Aryans," but it's not. So it's fine.
Oh, man. All right, man. So I got a clip I'd like to play here.
Mhm. Let's see that.
It's of your boy, MBS.
Yep.
1 second here. I'd love to see. It's good, man. We get to see exactly what you think. It's a clip. It's actually on. Is Al Jazeera even popular in Saudi, or is it illegal?
It used to be very popular as the crazy media outlet, but now it's Al Arabiya probably passed it a little bit, or it's 50-50. And Al Jazeera is not as crazy as it used to be, so it's not, people want to see crazy. So it's not as popular as it used to be.
All right, all right. So, guys, we're about to go into a clip, an interview with MBS, who is the leader of Saudi Arabia. We got Dr. Hotha here. He's in Saudi Arabia. And he knows a ton about what's going on in the Gulf. Has occupied Iran. Maybe there's an imminent strike coming soon from us here in the United States. All right, here we go. About to go into the clip
Let's do it.
and then get Dr. Hotha's feedback on this.
Oh, this is an old clip.
For 30
I
minutes
remember
on
that.
Sunday, the U.S. news program
Here-
60 Minutes profiled the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. He's meeting this week with President Donald Trump and with financial officials in New York. For Americans who don't pay much attention to foreign affairs, the impression of the 32-year-old man slated to be king one day may well be a positive one. He's trying to turn Saudi Arabia's oil-based economy into one that's more diversified. He favors religious and social reforms, and he wants women to have more rights.
We have extremists who forbid mixing between the two sexes and are unable to differentiate between a man and a woman alone together and their being together in a workplace. Many of those ideas contradict the way of life during the time of the Prophet and the Caliphs.
The presenter asked MBS about Saudi Arabia.
Hey, by the way, do you think it's true that the Saudi family is actually Jewish?
No, absolutely not. The Al Saud, the House of Al Saud, are from the tribe of Banu Hanifa, bin Lujaym, bin Sa'ab, bin Ali, bin Bakr, bin Wa'il, a Rib'i tribe, a Adnani tribe, a very well-known tribe. Their lineage has been documented better than most human beings in the world. We can go back to people very known, like in their lineage. You have multiple people throughout history that have stories and are well known, right? Like the Emir of Dir'iyah in the 1400s was their ancestor. The Emir of Riyadh in the 1100s, 1200s, when Bin Battuta came to Riyadh, which is he's our Marco Polo sort of. When he came to Riyadh, that guy was their ancestor, the Emir of Riyadh. And you go back all the way to the time of the Prophet, name by name, and it's very, very, clear,
You don't
right?
think, so you don't think you don't,
And there's one more thing: the tribes of Arabia are interlinked; they marry each other. Okay, so if an outsider comes in, we would absolutely know. It won't be a surprise, right?
So you
Because
don't
they've been
think-
marrying, from within the tribes all these days. It's not gonna be. Nobody can come out of nowhere in a society that documents its lineage like it is, heaven, like it's life or death. So
He looks-
it's hilarious to me. It's hilarious.
I mean, not for nothing. He could pass for Jewish. He could pass for Jewish. You know what I mean? He could
Well,
pass-
Jews can pass for Arabs because we're the real Semites. I mean, that's all I can say. We've kept it nice and clean,
We kept it. We kept it. We kept it. Yeah, Dr. Hotha and I
Kept it in the family.
We did a little bit of blows.
It's always fun, Nima.
Always fun, man.
Yeah, it is.
Always fun. Always fun. Yeah. All right, guys. Free. B Dog says free to Irans from the Zealots. Jamie says, do you know if Trump is making headway with Pakistan concerning Iran? Well, what do you think about that, Dr. Hope?
I think the Pakistanis will cooperate. I think they will. I think they will have Saudi Arabia stance. Don't use our air. Don't use our land. But when push comes to shove, and they have always been an ally of the United States. When the United States needed their help in Afghanistan, they've been there. When they needed their help in even Iran, they've been there. I think that the Pakistanis will look out for their own interest At the time being, just like Saudi Arabia would, in the time being, it is not in their interest to sort of cooperate with the United States on an attack on Iran. However, if the United States goes ahead and does it and things go a certain way, I think Pakistan would be a very possible ally of the United States if needed, in theory.
And then in general, do you think that if they're in Saudi right now, like is the betting horse that Reza Pahlavi is in power in the next few months? Like is that like the bet that is that like the bet that you guys are betting on or no?
No, no, that's not the bet we're betting on. We don't think Reza Pahlavi, as in a general population and the people that, in Saudi discourse regarding Iran, the bet is not on, we don't think that he will come into power. And there's a very clear reason for that because the United States, they're not marketing him. I mean, they are the only, they are the people who you would think would be marketing him. And they've said, verbatim, we're not, we are not talking about removing the regime yet. What they're talking about is the nuclear thing, nuclear negotiations. They haven't mentioned, regime change in that, manner very loudly and boldly. So he's not been marketed by the United States anyway, right? He's trying to market himself. A lot of people in the United States lobby for him, but it's not American policy. So we're not betting on that. That's number one. Number two is I don't, in the Saudi discourse, people are open to the idea that there could be a possibility of attack. There could be a possibility of the regime collapsing. However, he is not clearly the guy yet, in the picture. I want to say my opinion. My opinion has been fluctuating this last week. One time I would think, it's going to be a harsh attack. The other time I think it's going to be like a 12-day war. Then, I'm convinced attack won't happen. Then I hear, that, tomorrow, 10 a.m. Saudi Arabia time, Witkoff and the Iranian foreign minister will meet in Oman. And there's going to be negotiations. The United States said the negotiations are that we don't want any nuclear capability of Iran. And that's what we're going to ask for, nothing less than that. Iran is saying you're never going to get that. However, we want to talk. So I don't know. Before that, statement from both parties, I thought that something of an agreement would happen. But the United States declaring there's nothing other than absolute, no, nuclear capabilities versus Iran saying that is never going to happen, but let's talk. When that came up, I think, my bets kind of changed a little bit. I think I'm going back to putting my money on a 12-day war kind of situation in my
All right.
calculations.
All right, so this is an article that came out. I'll just read it, see what and then so get your opinion on it. So even as it starts here, even as the U.S. prepares for diplomatic talks with Iran, the United States is seeking input from prominent Iranian Americans who could assist in any transition should Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei be toppled. A source close to American efforts to find an alternative to the current regime in Iran told The National that President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is closely involved. He is helping to assemble a group of Iranian-American business leaders who advise on the formation of some form of transitional entity to help govern Iran in the event of the regime's collapse.
You see, I like that. I like that. You see, this is much more realistic. This is much more of a soft landing, right? This is much more in touch with Iranians in Iran, right? I think this is way more possible. I think this is how it's going to look like if regime change ever would happen. I would bet 100% my money on it looking like that, not on somebody coming from outside. To add to that, the Iranian structure of government now is sort of made into a way where soft landing is possible. I mean, you do have a president that is elected. You do have parties. You do have some kind of judiciary, parliamentary, and then executive branches. Although it is puppeted by the supreme leader on the top. However, those structures do exist that make it easy for a soft landing to sort of occur, right? If this council of scholars or whatever they call them and the supreme leader sort of get out of the picture, you still have the government, you still have parliament, and you still have a judiciary branch. The way I see it, Nima, is that what they just mentioned in that article, somebody, I don't know, like Zarif, for instance, somebody that is more friendly or more capable of talking to the West, sort of as a bridge rather than having Pahlavi come out of nowhere. It's not me saying this is what I prefer. I'm just saying this is what looks more realistic on on reality, not just on paper.
Yeah. All right. So we got some quite got a.
What do you think? What do you think of that situation, having a Dharif-like person come into
Person,
power as a bridge?
yeah, no, I personally think Reza Pahlavi is by far the most popular out of the Iranians.
Inside Iran?
Yeah, I do. And I'll say, and
Really?
let me explain to you. I talked to my wife about this actually, because my wife is German, and in
Right.
Germany, obviously you'll see stuff about Nazis. You'll see stuff about you can look at stuff about Nazis and Antifa. Antifa started in Germany, and then it's easy to get this impression that half the Germans are Nazis, half the Germans are Antifa, when it's
Right.
actually the furthest thing from the truth. The vast majority of Germans are not Antifa, they are not Nazis, the vast majority. And I think that what you have is these Islamist, communist, extremist, like MEK, Khamenei supporters that are very loud, and they don't represent the vast majority of.
You don't think MEK has a more popular sort of approval than Pahlavi in Iran, inside Iran?
Not a chance.
Really?
Not a chance. Why is MEK popular with Saudi?
I have no. No, of course not. We're not. It's not something we talk about a lot. However, I'm asking you because you are an Iranian. You're more aware of what Iranians think. So, yeah.
No, I mean, I
You
think
you think
well,
Pahlavi? Okay, so Pahlavi wins against MEK. Does Pahlavi win against the regime? You believe now today in Iran?
well, just so people who aren't that familiar with MEK literally is Mujahideen. I mean, it's like it's literally stands for basically the People's Mujahideen of Iran.
Yeah.
Mujahideen. I mean, that it is not. It is
But
not
it's
like.
but it's literal. It means the people in struggle for Iran. It's not necessarily militant name, but it's fine. Go ahead. But jihad means struggle, by the way. But it's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but let's just understand. Well, I understand because you're in Saudi Arabia. I get how you would look at it. For you, maybe it's fine, but I think for most people in the West or people in, well, we're not talking.
My mother in Ramadan used to say, "I am jihading in the kitchen right now for futur," and I'm serious. She's not saying it as a joke or as a pun. So when I hear people use jihad as if it's like all exclusively about holy war, it is kind of funny for somebody that is a indigenous speaker of Arabic. It's not that. It's used in so many things. So when I listen to when I hear MEK or Mujahideen, it might not sound the same way when you hear it. So I understand that. It's fine.
No, I mean, I would say overall they're not popular, but definitely after 1979, they did have some support. Yes, and I would say back then they were more of a bigger opposition party, but that stopped, man. And the reason that stopped was because they were basically aligned with Saddam Hussein when Iran was getting gassed with chemical weapons from the Iraqis. So I think many Iranians actually view MEK as complete traitors, similar to Ali Khamenei bringing in the Iraqis.
I don't want to talk about Iran because unless you want to talk about it, because I see it in a whole different manner. I think me and you in Iran, we don't meet on that sort of history, but that's fine. If you want to take, we can go there. But however, I do want to ask you this: do you think that what this article talked about right now, or the possibility of this, let's make this aside and Pahlavi the other side? Who do you think the Iranian people are more, possibly leaning towards, this or Pahlavi? In your honest opinion.
I don't think. I think MEK is similar to like Antifa in Germany, bro.
No.
I don't think. I don't.
Discard MEK. I'm talking about what is said in this article.
No, I mean, I'm telling you, like, man, Reza Pahlavi can do I'll give you a great example. Reza Pahlavi could do a video, gets 90 million views. Okay, Iran only has about 90 million Iranians. When they did the blackout,
but that doesn't mean they would rather have him than a transitional government. That is local. Like that doesn't mean that. I understand he does give the numbers, but that doesn't mean they're voting for him.
No, people chant his name in Iran. Well, he's actually very popular, man.
You would know that. So my question to you, let me ask the question one more time. Who do you think would win in a election? Pahlavi or a transitional government in Iran, not MEK, but let's say a Dharif, a Pezeshkian, or somebody else that is more, liberal leaning, but is a product and creation of the Iranian government in the past. Which one do you think would win
Okay.
after removing Wilayat al-Faqih and that council and everything?
Right. So here's the thing. I would say, first of all, I'm not a political analyst. I'm a businessman in the United States. I am Iranian American. My family fled Iran. That said, I don't think Reza Pahlavi is saying, "Hey, I want to come back to Iran, and I'm the Shah for the next 4 decades." That's not what he says. That's not what he's suggesting at all. Actually, it's very reasonable what he's suggesting, and I think that's why so many people are supporting him. One big reason so many people are supporting him is because he's saying, "Hey, look, I'll come in power, I'll take leadership, and then we do the transition, and then we have self-determination. We have self-determination as a country, and people can elect who's the leader." Look how long Ali Khamenei's been in power. He just keeps. We're going on decades at this point.
Since 1989.
Right? Yeah, you think Ali Khamenei
37
would
years in
even,
power.
you think Ali,
He's
you think
37
Ali
years
Khamenei
supreme
would
leader.
even get, you think Ali Khamenei would even get more than 15% of the vote? I don't know. I don't think so.
Against Pahlavi?
Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe not even.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. But aren't there a lot of religious people in Iran that are still, see him as Ayatollah and see him as supreme leader? I think there are a lot of, people that are still identify as Muslim Shia. I mean, I don't think that like everybody is on the same mindset of the monarchists we see in Toronto, right? Like I don't think that's the situation. Is that fair?
Okay, put it like this. Here's the thing. Okay, I support. I'm biased. I'm very clear. I'm biased. I definitely support the Shah, Reza Pahlavi, coming in as a transitional leader, taking it from point A to point B, and point B is we have free election. That's it. And I think that he sold a lot of Iranians on that. I think he makes a very good persuasive argument.
I've been saying that years before all of this happening as Pahlavi being a possible choice of a bridge. I mean that is an asset for the Iranians always. I acknowledge that. However, my unbiased view really, like I don't have a horse in this race, but as an unbiased view, I think if you were between the two of, hey, I'm coming, Pahlavi, I'm gonna be a bridge. You guys just have to trust me. I'm gonna, bridge it into becoming just this royal that is, like the UK or Holland or whatever. I'm gonna be out of government. Versus people that were already in government and know what's going on and say, off with the old regime. We've always said we want to be liberal leaning. We know what we're doing. We've been doing it for a long time. I believe, again, I could be wrong. It's just my, I think the Iranian people will lean towards that more than the guy that just came from the United States. This is my opinion. I'm not saying it's better or worse. I'm just saying in my calculation, I think the Iranian people in Iran would lean towards that than Pahlavi. I could be wrong.
Well, I'll go ahead and finish this. Here we go. But I tell you right now, bro. I tell you right now, out of all the Iranians I know, when I have conversations with other Iranians
in Iran,
not just Iran. Well, the thing is when I talk to people in Iran, you have to, let's put a disclaimer on that. Like, what Iranians?
Yeah, I understand.
Like what Iranians going to speak freely, right?
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's like when they
understand.
tap the phone. Understand. All right, so here we go. So a second source also, I'm reading back the article. A second source also said Mr. Kushner is involved. The White House did not comment on his story. The first source, who is involved in the White House discussion, said the Trump administration wants to convene a meeting of Iranian opposition figures in Palm Beach, Florida, where the president's Mar-a-Lago estate is located. The meeting could happen as soon as this weekend, but logistics are complex. It was not clear if the organizers wanted to take place at Mar-a-Lago or nearby. The source said Mr. Trump is considering several divergent paths for Iran, each with political risk and geopolitical uncertainty. As his advisors prepare to meet for nuclear talks in Oman on Friday. Yeah, what do you think?
I think that if the Americans are coming in this and saying we want an absolute extermination of your nuclear program / capabilities, absolutely zero. Other than that, there will be war. I think then the Iranians are not going to. They're not going to agree to that, and war will happen. Um, and Trump has said that. So, I mean, if I'm going to go by what Trump said, I don't think they're going to agree on in Oman. Before Trump said that, which was I think he said it yesterday. Before he said that, I was putting my money on Iranians scaling back in the nuclear capability. They're going to give the Americans a lot with what they want, but there's not going to be an absolute decease of the nuclear program. I don't think that will happen. And I was right, I guess. I mean, when Trump asked for that, they said no. Trump said, okay, we're coming, but that's what we're going to ask for. Anything other than that is war. So I think war is going to happen. I don't think the Iranians will backpedal. I think they're going to stand by.
There's simply no room for.
Sorry about that. I'm about to play a clip here. This is John
Go ahead.
Bolton. John Bolton.
Yep.
And he's here talking about what's going on. All right, here we go. About the.
I mean, I think these meetings are a waste. Well, essentially, no chance. I mean, I think these meetings are a waste of oxygen. There's simply no room for agreement between Iran and the United States on this. This is a point that was entirely predictable. And I think it's both sides checking a box. I don't know what Trump is going to do, but I don't think anything's going to come out of these negotiations, whether they're held in Oman or held in Turkey or held on the moon. It's just a waste of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also a waste of time, man.
Yeah.
The
Americans made it a waste of time because they said either you absolutely erase your nuclear capabilities and program or war. So I think he's right. I think it is going to be a waste of time. The Americans don't want any sort of negotiations other than just remove the whole program. I think Nima, we have war in front of us. The question is, how bad is it going to look? Is it going to be a 12-day war or more? I think this is where we're at right now, to be honest. I mean, Saudi Arabia, by the way, in the GCC lobbied hard for the war not to happen, and we did get our way until today. I think that even if the attack would happen, I think it's going to be in a safer manner for the region because of that lobbying. However, I don't, things change by the day. I really don't know. What are you betting on, Nima?
I don't think the IRGC is in power in Nowruz. Nowruz is the Iranian New Year. I don't think it's going to come that fast.
When is that?
Man. And like the first day of March, the first day of spring.
Okay.
It's actually Nowruz is an ancient Aryan. Your favorite word, Aryan.
Yeah.
It's an ancient Aryan Iranian faith that goes back like thousands of years. So
right.
I think earlier than Nowruz I don't know how it's going to look. I think it's going to get a lot uglier. Unfortunately, I think it's going to get a heck of a lot uglier.
Honestly. That is highly possible. I'm
not somebody that's here like saying, "Oh,
do you think the IRGC will retaliate on countries like Bahrain and the UAE, or exclusively on Israel? Because they said they will on Israel, so we know that. But on countries like Bahrain and the UAE, what do you think?
I think Ali Khamenei's crazy, bro. Like I think he's legitimately. I'm also Iranian, myself, so I know that I think he's a true believer. I think when he prays, he's like praying as if like he could go any moment. I think he's had a complete life. He's like in his 80s, I think 82, 83. I don't think he's scared. I think he'd rather go out like that. I think he'd rather go out. I don't think he'll ever surrender at all. I think he's ready to. I think he would die for what he believes in.
Oh no, yeah, I mean he's late 80s. He's late 80s. I mean, there's nothing to lose at this point. But I don't think it's not going to be up to him if he will stand down. If he does ever stand down, it's not going to be because he wanted to. It's going to be because he can't do anything other than that. People will pressure him. Cards not in his hand, and they would say, "Hey, man, how about you getting sick, for instance, and maybe you can get off this with some dignity because you're gonna go out anyway." If the Iranians around him said that, then yeah, that could happen. Never will it be him saying, "Oh, for Iran, I will do this." That will never happen. Nobody disagrees with you, but the possibility of the people around him saying, "Listen, why don't you just sit down and take a seat, and we'll just give you your dignity. You're just sick." That's the problem. That is very possible. That's not something out of the table.
Well, so like for example, all right. So graphic discretion. This is an image from Iran we're looking at. So like for example, you're a doctor, you're a medical doctor. I know you're focused. You're a gastrologist, right? Yeah.
Gastroenterologist.
Yeah. Just so as a doctor, when you look at this, what would you say happened to these people?
I think that they were killed, Nima. I don't think there's.
Yeah, I know
I don't think there's. Yeah, I mean, it's an absolute horror, to be honest. It's not funny, but it's disgusting. It's horrifying. People died. Yeah, I don't like to look at these pictures, not because of anything other than this happens. We know that happens. Um, and I think that there is no way for people to prevent this, to be honest with you, inside Iran. I don't think the attack on Iran will kill less Iranians. I don't think if the America attacks Iran, that will cause, at the end of the day, less Iranians dying. I don't believe that. I think at the end of the day, that could end up causing more Iranians dying. We saw that in Iraq. We saw that in Libya. We saw that in Syria. Why do you think Iran could, 100% be different? I understand they have the structure. They have, they are better. They have better weapons and gadgets to sort of have that transition. I do understand that. However, that's not a guarantee. Neil. That's not a guarantee.
So when you
we can end up with more Iranians dying because of the American attack.
Right. So like for example, you're in Saudi. You're right across the Iranian Gulf from occupied Iran. And when you look at a little girl like this who just got murdered, this is her account. I mean, it's just like this is your neighbor. This is your neighbor.
That's very. It is. I can't imagine how her parents feel like. Let me just put it that way. Beautiful young girl, man. It is a shame. It is a shame. The question is, do you think less of that will happen if the Americans attack? Do you actually believe that? For sure, guarantee. Guarantee.
I think if we don't stop that genocidal psychopath, first of all, I don't think.
How did this young girl die? By the way.
Well, first of all, I have a daughter. I know you and I are both fathers, right? How many children you have?
I have the one son, Salman.
You have one. Yeah. Like she could be my daughter. She could be your daughter. I mean, even though I'm Jewish, I'm Iranian. You're Saudi. We could be family. I mean, we're very similar in our appearance. I'd say, I don't think Iranians are going to go back. I don't envision. I don't know what's coming next. It's true. Other than I don't think it's possible for us Iranian men, especially our women, they're warriors. I don't think, man. I cannot envision it goes back to hunky dory, normal. There's no normal anymore, bro. They've murdered way too many. They've truly crossed the line.
Yeah.
That I think
did it reach that stage yet? Because I know exactly what you're talking about. It happened in Syria when Assad reached a stage where it was irreversible. That's it. Like you cannot go back from that, right? Like barrel bombing, you cannot go back from that. Do you think Iran is there yet? I mean, they're close, but are they in the path of no return for the people? You believe that?
Just real quick, because I want to ask you about that.
I'm asking you, by the way. I'm not saying that I know what's going on. I'm just asking you.
Yeah. No, I think it's interesting when you say the point of no return with Assad. I mean, bro, that's a rich. I mean, what point? What point?
No. I mean, Assad reached a point when nobody in their sane mind would say Assad has the right to rule Syria anymore, or the people would have, an ability or an appetite to have him back. That is just irreversible. There was a very known time when people were like, yeah, that's never going to go back to normal. Do you think Iran has reached that stage?
Definitely, bro. But even with Assad, I mean, just the fact that we're even comparing him with Assad. Hold on, so just real quick,
Assad killed 700,000 people. I mean, you're not there yet. You have to understand that 700,000 Syrians died. Like, yeah, that was a massacre.
Hold on. Respectfully, if we're at like 70,000 people murdered already in the first month, I think we're on our way. I mean, I don't know.
It's a shame. I don't wish that. I don't wish that at all.
So just and I want to go back to this Assad comment, because I think there's a lot of points. I think you know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of points that Assad maybe crossed that line of there's no going back, but he just kept going.
Yeah, because cities were flattened by barrel bombs, Nima. That's what I mean. I mean, like, you can't go back from flattening like half of Damascus. Like, it's irreversible. I don't see the Iranian regime there yet. I don't see them in a stage where they don't have face anymore. Right? They could fight back. They still have an ability to say, listen, we're legitimate. That is, if we're going to talk realistically, right? Without having like emotions and without having like preferable situations, I don't see they're there yet. They're not there yet. That could be there. They could be on their way for that, no doubt.
Just so people in the West understand what he's talking about when he says barrel bomb, he's right. It's very disgusting what al-Assad did. Bashar al-Assad did. He basically packed the crude oil drums with explosives and shrapnel, and then what he would do is he would put them in a helicopter, and he would just go to cities, not the battlefield, the cities.
Yep.
And if you're a Muslim and you're probably a Sunni, just know he literally would go to like a Sunni neighborhood and just drop it. And not only was he terrorizing, he was like literally doing depopulation.
Yeah.
So I mean, and by the way, we're not even including the chemical weapons. Sarin gas. Remember the sarin gas he did in Ghouta?
Yeah.
And remember the chlorine. Remember the chlorine attacks. I mean, this guy was a military monster.
His father, by the way, was even more insane. Hafez was more insane, but we didn't have media at that time like we do now. He killed, I think, something more than 150,000 like a few days.
And by the way, just so everyone understands, one more thing about good old Bashar al-Assad, who's hiding somewhere if he's alive. This guy, literally, like we're looking at an Iranian girl that got killed. Just know Bashar al-Assad would torture children on camera.
Nima, there were children born in prison, and they were like, I think they were like 8, 9 years old, never seen the sun, Nima. Never seen the sun. Their mothers were imprisoned, illegally. They did nothing. Just because they're, they know somebody that might have been, in the resistance or whatever. 8 years old, never seen the sun, has all the vitamin deficiencies you can imagine. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I mean, I saw a little bit of it when they, filmed the prisons. I just couldn't continue. I was like, this is absolutely insane. So I mean, I feel the Iranian people seeing that girl kind of really pissed me off a little bit. Listen, let's just hope that doesn't happen, to another country. Let's just hope that doesn't happen to Iran. Let's hope no barrel bombing is going to happen, and and I don't think that will happen. I think it's going to be much smoother than that.
Yeah, I mean, so let's just get into the comments here real quick. What's up, Jamie? Thank you, everyone, for retweeting, reposting, sharing this stream. You share it with a few of your friends. Please share it with a few of your friends. We could increase the conversation, get the conversation bigger. So let's just go into the comments here. Astrin Kyle, I hope I said that correctly. Very unfortunate to see Hotha has downgraded his room, and we no longer see crown moldings. Next comment here. Daughter of Persia, I agree. Jamie says Trump will only counter Iran's aggression. I don't think he will attack first. Daughter of Persia says, so I beg you, I don't lobby anymore. People are dying for saying they want regime change. Kyoto. I love Kyoto. I visited Kyoto. It's a very beautiful city. Something huge is happening right now. The clock is ticking. Khamenei is history. And Dr. Hotha, daughter of Persia. Dr. Hotha, with all due respect, please watch some more videos directly from Iran and see and listen what they are chanting for. have you seen during the burials their parents and families are dancing? Thank you for reposting the stream, everyone. Nima, please do more streams. Hey, man, thank you for joining. Please share, help us out. So, guys, I just want to, just to go a little bit back into this conversation here.
Let me respond to Aristotle, because I said jokingly in the past to him in a space that I'm not doing it in that Majlis room anymore, because people are looking at the chandelier and they're not listening to what I have to say. So this is me fulfilling that promise. Go ahead.
Yeah, there you go, man. There you go. So I want to play some image here, just so everybody knows, man. I don't think in the West completely understand exactly how ruthless Bashar al-Assad was, man. Let me ask you, man. So, like in the 80s, 90s, before when he still had power, what was it? What was that? What was that like for Saudi? What was that like for MBS? Like, how did you guys view that situation?
What?
Did you guys just hate the guy? I mean, obviously, right? I mean,
Who?
What was Bashar al-Assad? How was there, like, behind closed doors? Now that it's all said and done, what do you think?
So we've always had a bad relationship with Bashar al-Assad historically. Like, we've always had it. He has been a paranoid person. He is a ophthalmologist that does not really know never really wanted to run Syria. His brother that was supposed to run it died. He came into power. He's run by his entourage. He's not the guy leading the thing. And the problem when you have a person run by their entourage is that you see something when you meet them, and then you see their policy is absolutely different. We never trusted Syria. Saudi Arabia, in its relationship with Bashar al-Assad and that Ba'athist regime, we have never trusted throughout its history. They've always taken the anti-Saudi position. In Lebanon, they were involved in killing al-Hariri, who was, a very promising person for the future of Lebanon. They've been supporting Hezbollah. We were against that, and so on and so forth. So yeah, we've never trusted. When that revolution happened, this was before Mohammed bin Salman became in leadership. You have to understand that. When the revolution in Syria happened, that was before MBS was in leadership, and during that time, the Saudi policy was pro helping these people overthrow Bashar al-Assad. When Mohammed bin Salman came in, he stated something very important. He made it very clear that Saudi Arabia does not involve itself in the sovereignty of other nations. We are in the game to help the Syrian people. If we can help the Syrian people by jumping Assad, we'll do that. If we can't, the only way helping the Syrian people is by talking to Assad. We'll talk to Assad. We're not in the game of state crafting for the Syrians. They are a sovereign country. However, we're in the game of helping Syrian people have a better life. And that was always his sort of approach. So he wasn't very supportive of that militia or this militia. He was saying, how can I reach the people and give them better, life, even if it means I have to talk to Bashar al-Assad. And that's what he did at one point, right? To send the aid to Syria, he had to even talk to him. Now, it was only a few months later, Bashar al-Assad was absolutely removed. What's his name? President Ahmed al-Shara came into power, and we supported that also right away. We came and said, okay, you're the sovereign leader, fantastic. We don't have a say on who leads Syria. However, we want to help Syria. So we'll talk to you too. And we talked to Ahmed al-Shara. We lobbied for Syria to have their sanctions lifted from the United States. We got that done. And we've supported them in trying to be a fair sort of establishment of that government under President Ahmed al-Shara. I want to say something about Ahmed al-Shara. He, I know people don't like him or like him. That doesn't matter. He has gone through so many obstacles and done a fantastic job to do that. This guy was fighting in a militia just yesterday. Came into power, says all the right things, takes all the right steps, doesn't do the big no-nos, right? Talks to Turkey, talks to Saudi Arabia, talks to Qatar, talks with Israel, right? And is never a clear puppet of any of them, right? I think he gets an A+ on how he, not the situation, but how he dealt with the situation on hand that he has, right? Whether you like him or not, Bashar al-Assad started that civil war. Ahmed Shara did end it, right? And that's the fact of the matter. And, that's for the Syrian people to keep him or not. He is a interim leader, and we'll see what happens after his interim, time ends.
You think that he's loyal to Qatar, or you think he's loyal to United States friendly.
I'm very honest here. I think he's loyal to Syria, which means that he, would rather appease the Americans more than anybody else, right? Turkey and Qatar and Saudi Arabia. Qatar is out of the game now. It's basically Turkey and Saudi Arabia and the United States. And I think if push comes to shove, he is trying to get a better relationship with the United States as a priority. Already has a good relationship with Saudi Arabia and Turkey. I don't think he is a puppet of any of them. I don't think he's a creature of any of them. I think he honestly is very, very sovereign in his own, right. However, Syria's government is in a situation that is very hesitant and weak. Like you cannot blame them. But he has done a very good job juggling between America, United States, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Qatar, in not being, a product of any of those and getting the benefit to Syria as much as he can. I think he did a very good job.
Yeah. I think the fact that he comes from such a hard neighborhood, they had the the Al Qaeda, all that. I don't think that guy just switches overnight.
Well, he did, he didn't deny that past. He didn't deny it, and he, explained it as being a young man's, fervor and a mistake. He did leave those sort of militias very early on. Yani. However, I do understand your concern. That is a concern. It's not easy to switch from that to this right away. But I mean, the guy's doing it. That's why I'm giving him an A+. I mean, he is doing all the right moves. What he has, the niyyah inside him. I know you know that word, niyat. What he has inside, we really can never know. But we have to evaluate him through his moves. His moves have been quite good.
Yeah. All right, guys. So before we go back into Iran, Mina, thanks for reposting this stream. Zubin, thank you for reposting this stream. Thank you, everyone, reposting this stream. Please, that's a big way to help us. By the way, this podcast is going to go out on iTunes and Spotify this week, or maybe even as early as tomorrow. So you guys can listen to the audio of this. All right. And if you do, please leave a review. All right. So we're going to go into some footage of children in Syria. And then right after this, we go back to occupied Iran, just because we were talking about Saudi. So here's a child who's blindfolded, and it's not nice what's happening next. Go into it.
جيش حارتي ولا مع جيش الشرطة؟ مع بشار الأسد. الله محيي الجيش الله محيي الجيش النظامي سيدي. أنتوا خبرتوني. أنا خبرتوني. طيب بعطيك درس تاريخ يا حيوان. لا يا سيدي. يلا خليك.
He's saying, "Stay with me. Who created you, Bashar al-Assad?"
I can't even see it.
You can't see it?
No, I can, but I don't want to. It's very like I'm just gonna listen to it. It's disturbing, man. It's a little child, man. Like these people are going to hell, no doubt. I mean, it's disgusting. Poor guy, man.
I mean, he's saying now who's better, Allah or...
Sounds like Pharaoh now.
Huh?
Sounds like Pharaoh.
Yeah,
who's better, God or Bashar? I mean, that's disgusting. It's a little kid, man.
I mean, these guys are just evil, man.
Can you imagine this kid's parents seeing this? It's let alone what the kid is feeling, which is disgusting. Can you imagine the parents, the mother, just knowing this clip exists, probably saw it? It's absolutely disgusting, man. It's just unbelievable.
That's heavy. I think the Middle East is we got a lot of it's just heavy, man. It's just heavy what we have going on in the Middle East, man, in general.
You know, people after seeing clips like that would say, "How can you tell me God exists?" I will tell them, after seeing clips like that, we have no choice other than to say God has to exist for us to just, live with that, to have some kind of justice, man. That was disgusting.
Yeah. Are you so we in the comment we got let's talk about the Iran's prosperity plan. Are you familiar with it? Reza Pahlavi brought this out.
I've heard of it, but I know absolutely nothing about it.
Yeah, so basically, it's just a key component of how to do normalization with the United States and Israel, and it's just a summary of how Iran's foreign policy will look during the transitional phase. So as you could see here, for example, the first 100 days, week 1, signals and commitments, announce change to power, recognize Israel, which is fantastic because Israel and Iran can do amazing things. They can really, truly transform the neighborhood. I mean, Israel is such a so many Iranians actually like Israel. I think it's what's unique about Iran is that so many Iranians like Israel that it's actually it's amazing that Iran could flip from the most hostile enemy
Why do you
of it.
think? Why do you think? Do you think Iranians are more? Yeah, and you see Israel as the sort of helper in this situation more than the United States? Because this is my impression. I see them, praising Israel way more than they ever praised the United States. I see Israeli flags everywhere, and Netanyahu being championed more than Trump. And I'm surprised. Like, I don't know why that is the case. If somebody's gonna get you out of this, it's gonna be the United States. What do you think?
Uh, I think they're both popular, man. I think Marco Rubio's popular. Trump's
I
popular.
reckon Israel's more popular, man. You can't deny that. Come on, man. Like between the monarchists, that's not even a discussion, man. I mean,
I mean,
I never, I don't want to say his name out, but I kid with some of them and tell them, listen, man, don't make fun of Allah, and I won't make fun of the Jews, your God. And they're okay with it. Like they love the Jews to a degree. Netanyahu is God to them, and it is a phenomenon I don't understand. Like, why aren't they? They should be praising Trump more. They should be
I
chanting
mean,
Trump's name.
Benjamin Netanyahu is actually very famous and for the fact that he's such a smart military commander, leader. I know he's not that popular, in Arab countries, but I would say many people around the world actually admire him, man. I think many
Let me
people,
tell you the link I believe. Let me tell you why the reason I believe is.
and also look at their security and look at the security agencies, the military. It's so fierce. It's so inventive. I mean, if you want to hide from someone,
More than the United States, man? Come on, man.
No.
It's not even a competition, man.
Oh
Like
yeah, no, they don't have the budget of a CIA or NSA or
Yeah, I mean,
security agencies.
you come on. You know that it is the United States' decision on whether to say, "Hey, let's help these people get Pahlavi in power." It's not going to be Netanyahu's decision, right? I mean, Netanyahu will lobby, Saudi Arabia will lobby, Qatar will lobby. United States is going to decide, right? We all know that. So I don't understand why they're just choosing one of the poles here. I think they should go to the source. But let me say this: I think the reason is because their sort of personality, the monarchist, is, hey, we're not supposed to be Muslims anyway, so we're gonna hate on Islam, and who's doing that better than anybody? The Israelis, right? And they have a lot of grievances against the Muslim world. We have a lot of grievances against the Muslim world. It makes sense. The United States doesn't position itself as a country that has grievances against the Muslim world, right? It's not that. Israel does, for reasons like people understand why throughout the history, right? And I'm not talking necessarily state policy. I'm talking rhetoric of the people in general, right? So I think that is why it just makes sense for the monarchist to sort of be on that camp. Does that make sense to you?
I think by far Israel gives. I don't know another country that gives us Americans a better ROI in the investment that we give to the state of Israel. I mean, they give us a lot back. And I know you're Saudi, and I know you're going to get competitive about that.
No. I agree with you. That is what alt accounts are. I mean, I agree with you. Totally, absolutely. You're absolutely right. It is doing its.
Yeah.
What?
Well, you said like what? Yeah. I mean,
No. I understood what you mean now, and you're right.
Yeah,
However,
leverage, information, deterrence.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Absolutely.
I mean, there's no doubt. No one would.
It's a launch pad of the United States imperial control of the region. There is no doubt about that.
Imperial.
That's what it is, man.
You threw that word in, imperial. It's
the United States is the only empire in the world right now. There are no other empires after World War I other than the United States.
I like how you slipped that word in. The thing is that that was good. That was good. That fools the Westerners, though. Like I understand that works with the American.
If I was an American, I would flex this. Listen. I would be proud that America is the greatest empire in human history. Why is that a bad thing? That is a good thing. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, countries actually want to be that. All of the countries compete on global control. It's not because the Americans actually achieved that we're saying, oh, don't mention that. That's bad. No, that is the goal of countries. At the end of the day, the kind of the United States just were successful with it. So don't hate the player, hate the game, man. You know,
All right,
this
so
is
let's
always
just,
my way of thinking.
all right, so how about we look at it like this? Okay, so in regards to is Trump, America basically the one that's going to knock it out? Yeah, I mean, obviously they played a big role, but to say that Israel isn't giving an accurate assessment about what's going on in Iran, that the sheer volume of collective data, human, technical, covert, then the United States can use for targeting. This,
Let me
because
put
this,
it this way.
yeah,
If Israel today said, I don't want to get involved, absolutely, just don't talk to me about this. I'm not going to help the United States. Do you think the United States will still pull off what they want to pull off? The answer is absolutely yes. There's no doubt about it. So I think that's why it is a good partner. It is helpful to the United States, but it's not essential. It's not essential. Listen, don't make the mistakes comparing yourself to the United States. That is a mistake. You will lose. It's not fair to Israel, to anybody. I don't think it's a fair comparison in general.
yeah, but I mean, the fact that Iran is studied by Israel, who by far has the most sophisticated military the Middle East has ever seen, the security agencies that the Middle East has
Sponsored
ever
by the
seen.
U.S.
Oh, also the invention, the innovation. You can't. I mean, the invention, the imagination of the Israelis doesn't cost any money. And so just the amount of networks that were built, the command structures that were built, the proxy chains. I know you like the word
Look,
proxy.
they're not a liability to the United States.
Hold on, Dr. Hotha. The nuclear infrastructure, the missile units. I like, we're not just talking about, signals that are getting collected from Israel, that from like this is not just like cyber stuff. We're talking about actual human intelligence deep inside of occupied Iran. And I think that's extremely valuable. And
Why
when
is that
Israel,
surprising, though? That's not surprising. If you are a franchise of the United States in the Middle East, of course you're going to be that good. There's no doubt about that. I don't listen. I don't see Israel other than just another branch that has the same capabilities of the. It's kind of like the Pontiac to the Chevrolet to the General Motors. It doesn't matter. It's just another franchise in the region, smaller, right? But has the access to a lot of things others don't have the access to. Nobody can deny that. Has the support, the unconditional support others will not get. You can't deny that Congress has. The United States policy is qualitative edge for Israel. I mean, it's not. They're never going to let it loose, right? So,
I mean, what country would you say in the Middle East is more successful than Israel at putting the Islamic Republic in defense instead of expanding? I mean, what would Saudi do if Israel was not there, putting the Ali Khamenei in defense? Could you imagine how much? Hold on, please.
When you say very, very good question.
Let me finish. Could you just imagine how much they would expand if Israel was not there? Every dollar that Iran spends protecting the nuclear scientists, the missile depots, the command nodes, is a dollar that's not spent on expanding and taking Saudi. Israel
No, they can never do that. They can listen.
Israel literally forces Iran into a defensive crouch, bro.
Yeah, true. But Iran is not Saudi. Listen, Saudi Arabia is different than Iran, and I want to talk about it for 1 minute. But you asked the question. I want to answer that first. You said that. What do you think about who has been more successful than Israel against Iran? Well, let me tell you something. How many? Very fantastic.
Because without Israel, they would expand. Maybe Saudi would be a part of Iran.
Okay, I understand the question. I totally understand the question, and it's a very legitimate question. Very legitimate question. But let me answer. As a Saudi, what I care about most in pushing Iran away is not killing Saudis. At the end of the day, that is my goal. Israel did, do a lot of very successful surgical, attacks on Iran. Nobody can deny that. I mean, killing top 30 officials, something like that. That was very, very impressive. However, I would never want to be Israel when Israel did that if I was an Israeli citizen. I don't want Saudi Arabia to take the pathway of Israel by doing that. How many rockets fell? How many Israelis died? How many buildings were destroyed? How many people stayed in bunkers in Israel? A lot. How many in Saudi Arabia? Absolutely zero. Zero Saudis died. Zero Saudis were threatened. Zero Saudi economy
That's
was
because
threatened.
Israel. That's because Israel paid the price for Saudi. I mean, at least
Wait,
Saudi could do is say
I'm
thank you.
getting to that. I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that. I understand. I understand. Let me reach what I'm trying to reach.
Somebody has
That is,
to make the neighborhood safe, Doctor.
and it's never going to be America. It's going to be America's alt account.
I mean, obviously,
Because
it's because of Israel that it's safe. Like if Israel was not there, you know how you wouldn't even maybe have Saudi, if we're honest.
no. I think that is an extreme exaggeration right there. I think that Saudi Arabia was a country since the 1700s. I think that Saudi Arabia was a country before the United States got its independence from the UK.
Saudi doesn't have any covert networks inside of Iran. Israel does. Bro.
It doesn't need covert networks inside of Iran. It has covert networks in the globe. It is
Israel's
the land of divine. Listen to me. How many people you would see in the comments? How many people you would see in the comments right now that would say, if Israel ever would attack Saudi Arabia, I will volunteer myself as a guerrilla war fighter to defend Saudi Arabia. I know it sounds insane. How many people you would never see that said to any other country, by the way? Never would you see a Saudi or like an Egyptian say, I will martyr myself for Iran. Nobody will martyr themselves for Iran other than Iranians. Nobody will martyr themselves for. Listen to me. Nobody will. Let me just get to this point. Nobody will martyr themselves for Israel other than Israelis, but everybody will martyr themselves for Saudi Arabia. Nobody fucks around with Saudi Arabia. So I think that is something Saudi Arabia has, other countries don't. So it's in a special sort of consideration. It doesn't apply to the same rules.
That's a fair point. That's because you have the holy sites for Islam. Yeah, that's a fair point. However, when Saudi plays nice and clean, they go on their nice private jets, they have a nice fun day. The Israelis
there are rich people in Saudi Arabia, yes.
Yeah, the Israelis are the ones that are hiding in the bunkers because they're facing the big bad.
Well, they're wrong. Well, they should be more sovereign, and they should think about Jews. They should think about the benefit. They should think about the best interest of Jews that want to immigrate to Israel instead of being a jihadi launch pad for the empire. That's what I'm saying. They should have more sovereignty. Go ahead.
Dr. Hotha, please.
Sorry.
Give me a minute here. Please give me a minute. It is precisely because of the brave men and women in Israel, the warriors, the thinkers, the creative thinkers that have spent the past several decades recruiting sources inside Iran, intercepting communications, identifying all those key facilities and personnel. You know what I'm talking about, the nuclear scientists in particular. You remember in 2018 what happened with the nuclear situation in Iran?
Mm-hmm.
You remember what happened? Yeah, because that was when a bunch of Israelis went in, and they went into a secret archive warehouse in occupied Iran, in Tehran, and they smuggled hundreds of thousands of files of Iran's nuclear program. And what did those files say? Those files said very clearly that there was clandestine work of nuclear weapons development. And then that gave the United States, that gave us and our allies evidence of the intent of what they were doing with their nuclear program. So while the Saudis, like you, were, you had a nice, comfortable country. No one had to hide in a bunker. No one had to hide in a bunker. The Israelis,
you know why?
The Israelis risked their life.
There's a reason for that.
Going in and dealing
I
with
understand.
these
But there's a reason for that, Nima.
One more thing. So even in operation, one last thing. One more thing. Even in Operation Rising Lion, one of the most successful military ops in the last maybe decade, you had Israelis going in there. They smuggled drones like no one in the Middle East has ever even invented. They had precision equipment in there. Inside of Iran, they set up hidden launch systems. They had micro drone bases, bro. Okay, they literally sabotaged the tools right next to the air defense and missile sites. And you know what? You're right. The Israelis had to go in bunkers when Ali Khamenei was launching those things over to Israel. And you know what? You're right. The Saudis, they didn't have to. So thankfully, the Middle East, thankfully, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, they don't have to fight dirty.
Right.
Because you know who's fighting the big schoolyard bully?
America.
Israel. No, Israel.
Okay. Let me respond to you now. Okay, it's my turn. Just a little bit respond to that. Let me respond to that.
And everybody knows
What you
this,
said.
bro.
What you said. What?
And everybody knows this, and almost everybody knows this, and that's why Iranians love Israel so much.
Okay, so just before we forget the point, though, I agree. Okay, so what you said is factually correct. They did go into Iran. They did take all these information. They did build the drones inside of Iran. They did surgically attack the Iranians. They did kill the top officials of that regime. They did do all of that stuff. Nobody disagrees with you on that. Absolutely agree. Now, I would add to it with the help of the United States and intelligence and whatnot. I mean, they're not doing this alone, but it doesn't take away from what they did. The question is, why does Israel do that and risk their lives, right, and die, while Saudi Arabia sits down and doesn't risk Saudi life for that? Because Saudi Arabia thinks about the interests of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is a sovereign country that thinks about the best interest of its own people and the future of its own country. Israel is an alt account of the United States. Israel is not putting the Jews and the Israelis as my priority. It is putting the imperial ambitions of the United States in the region as priority. They are a launch pad. So when Israelis die, when they do all these attacks, impressive, not gonna lie, absolutely. But they are doing this from a non-sovereign point of view. They're not doing this because they're, from a sovereign positional point of view. If a sane sovereign leader of Israel was there, he would never do these things, threaten Jews, make Israel a country that is dangerous for people to live in, make it hard for Jews around the world to consider Israel as the sanctuary for the Jews, a country where they can rely on and live in for the rest of their lives. That is not what Israel has done. Israel has failed the Jews in that concept. They have failed the Jews in being that sanctuary, that safety point for the Jews around the world to come and immigrate in. You would never want to live in Israel for the rest of your life because you are a well-off person and you have homes in there in other places. A lot of people in North America are the same. A lot of people in Europe are the same. Let's not lie to each other. A lot of Jews in North America and Europe will never want to live in Israel for the fact of it's not a place that is very attractive for rich people to live in, given the situation that they are dealing with today. And that is a failure of the Israelis because it is not what the Israeli government wanted to do in the first place. Their existence is a launch pad for the imperial entity, not to achieve the first point that I just mentioned. That is the difference between Israel and Saudi Arabia. Whereas Saudi Arabia is a sovereign country that looks out for its own interests, the interests of its own people, and doesn't get executive orders from DC. And this is what I believe.
Yeah, man. I mean, the bottom line, bro, is. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like Israel is in a state of danger. They're dealing with the big schoolyard bully. Like if they were not doing the dirty work of dealing with the big schoolyard bully of Ali Khamenei, you would not be as safe, man. Someone's dealing with
No, our safety is not reliant on Israel, nor reliant on the United States. Our safety came from the prayer of Abraham on the land of divine revelation when Abraham said, God, keep this land safe and make its people fruitful to the people that believe in God and the last day. We believe in that. We believe that God is our protector. Nobody has ever invaded the Arabian Peninsula. Historically, nobody outside of the Arabian Peninsula ever invaded the Arabian Peninsula. When the Ottomans controlled Mecca and Medina, it was not an invasion. It was an empire that had nominal control over it. But when we fought back, we said, we don't want you. They got the hell out of there. They couldn't invade Arabia. Arabia has never been invaded from an exterior force ever. And I think there's a reason for that. We are a people that are very proud. The Arabs historically,
I say this respectfully. I like you. You're my friend. You're not the only Saudi I have as a friend either.
Right.
I respect you a lot.
Right.
Let's not blow our own horn a little bit too much. I mean, most of Saudi Arabia is a desert, bro. And let's not forget
it is a desert. It is a desert.
Let's not forget what Iran did back in the day with Cyrus the Great. Let's not.
Really? What did they do? Control Yemen?
Saudi Arabia is mostly a desert.
Okay,
I say that with- I
good.
say that with respect.
And
say
you
that
know
with
what the
respect.
Arabs say? You know what
Say
the
that
Arabs
with
say?
respect. And I like
They
you, you know?
say, no,
I don't like to
I know.
talk
I'm not.
to you.
Listen.
I don't
I
even like to
won't get.
talk
I
to
won't
you.
get offended.
I don't like to
Listen.
talk to
I
you.
won't get offended because
I don't
I
like to
truly
talk to
think.
you,
Listen.
you know?
Let me tell you
Because
why I don't
I
get
don't feel
offended.
good to tell you that. I don't feel
By
good to tell
God, Nima, by God, I'm not lying. Wallah al-azim, right?
you.
If God gave me a choice to get reborn 1,000 times, I swear by God, I will choose to be born in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia every single time. Every single time. So when you say the things that you say, it doesn't offend me. You know what I mean? Like I'm very self-confident about our deserts. Our deserts kept our women honorable, kept our people safe from empires. You know, the Arabs have a saying. The Arabs have a saying. Nobody will die in massive numbers to come and take the desert. That's why the desert gives us dignity and honor, right? If people chose to stay in the desert, it's not forced upon us. You know,
Yeah, I
Arabs
mean,
live.
it's not exactly like Iran with mountains and like Iran. You could
Well, I
understand.
mean, it's
No,
much better. Iran has been a road to multiple Turkic dynasties, just going and coming back. Not to mention the fucking Mongols, excuse my language, just coming and going back, right? But where were they stopped? All of them were stopped either in Baghdad or in like the Levant. None of them came to Egypt or Saudi Arabia because of the fact that the desert is harsh to
Dr.
foreigners.
Hotha, Dr. Hotha, if we're honest, if we're fair,
Yeah,
this is good Saudi first
absolutely.
nationalist.
Mhm.
I understand this is probably what they teach in the schools to the Saudi children.
No, it's not. It's reality. It's reality.
No, I know.
Listen, if we go 1,000 years back, Nima, if we go 1,000 years back, I promise you, Nima, I promise you, you would rather be in the deserts of Riyadh than to be in Tehran, where the Mongols are coming and gonna enslave you and probably
Yeah.
take women. You know, I would
Dr.
rather
Holt,
be in the Alvin safety of the desert.
Dr. Holt, I say this to your respect. You're an Arab.
Mhm.
I've always
Yeah.
treated you with pretty good respect. You're an Arab. I've always been fair to you. I'm Jewish. I'm Iranian, and I've always been respectful with you. And I say this respectfully. Okay, I don't like to talk to you like this. First of all,
Yeah, no,
the second, no, but I say this respectfully. Most of Saudi Arabia is a desert.
and yet,
Hold on. Prior to the oil, which was just recent,
right,
there was literally no riches to even extract. There was no
right,
fertile land. There was no
right,
industrial base, bro. So what the
right.
heck would they go in there for? What the
I'll
heck
tell you
would they
for
go?
I'll tell you again. It is the best barrier a human population can have, and yet this land that you say is arid produced a people that not like the Iranians invaded a little part of Arabia for like 10, 20 years. No, invaded all of Iran, changed it irreversibly, culturally erased the past, gave it a new culture, changed its language, changed the name of its children. Your children have Arab names. You read the Quran and you pray in our language towards an Arabian city prophesied by an Arab prophet. Now, listen, not too shabby from people, coming from the desert. They kind of won. They kind of won the cultural game. They kind of won the military game. They kind of won the linguistic game. They kind of won the narrative.
But
I
let's
mean,
never
let's be
forget.
honest.
Let's
Let's be
never
honest.
forget.
After Cyrus the Great, let me just end it here. After Cyrus the Great, you have only been ruled by people with Arab names till today. Ali Khamenei claims to be an Arab when he's not, but he claims to be an Arab because that gives him honor and dignity and glory. And this is something. This is something. Do you deny this? He claims to
I
be an
can.
Arab.
I want to. You know how I feel about this. I want to get this all out of Iran.
Yeah.
I want to get all of
Listen,
this out of Iran.
we
You know
don't,
how
we
I
don't,
feel.
we don't listen.
I'll be
We don't
racist when I
accept
say
him as an
that.
Arab. We know,
I
we
don't
know he's an Uzuri Turk. We know he's an Uzuri Turk. But to Kang and Flex, he would claim to be an Arab. Now, for somebody to claim 1,400 years after invasion to be of the race that invaded you, I'm gonna take that one. I'm gonna listen. My
Dr.
children's
Holt,
names are not Cyrus, and they're not, Khusrov.
you
Your
act
children,
like
not your children, sir.
you
But Iranian people's names is Muhammad, Ali, and Hassan and Hussein. For God's sake, Iranians worship Hassan and Hussein and Ali and Muhammad, Saudis, literal Saudis from the desert. I mean, I mean,
so
not too
we're
shabby,
honest.
not too shabby.
So we're a little bit. So we're a little bit honest here. It's not exactly like Cyrus and Darius were blocked because these fierce Saudi warriors stopped them from seizing Medina
Oh
and
wait, they
Mecca.
came as immigrants working in McDonald's. They came in the fucking horse and camel and won wars. Khalid bin Walid.
Back then, Medina and Mecca, bro. When Iran had Eastern Saudi Arabia in their control when they dominated your country. They dominated your country. That was Eastern
What do you think
Europe.
we drink in the desert? Sand? You think there's no water in the desert? You think there's no oases? You think there's no towns and cities? You think we don't, dude? The Arabian Peninsula, the Arabian Peninsula has the best geographic position in the world between Africa, Egypt, Africa, Europe, and Asia. It is absolutely positioned as a maritime king.
This is very cute that you're denying that the Iranian men came to Eastern Saudi Arabia and conquered.
Yeah, country. No. You conquered. Listen, as Iranians always do, you conquered through an Arabian proxy, right? You used an Arabian proxy, held the land for 10, 20 years.
Complete submission.
No, man, that's not called complete submission. We didn't use. Listen. We didn't support Khosrov. Listen, we didn't support Khosrov's competition in Iran to defeat Iran. We came with our own men. Khalid bin Walid came from Mecca on his horse. Destroyed Khosrov, defeated him, multiple battles, and not only that, the general. Let me end it here. Let me end it here. The general of our army, Khalid bin Walid, the best fighter in human history, when he fought against the Iranians, he said, "Where is your best fighter?" And he's the general of the army. He would say, "Where is your best fighter?" The best fighter will come up, obviously not a general, and he would kill them every single time. And he's the general of the army. The people that came from Saudi Arabia were numbered in the tens and 15,000s, defeated the Romans and the Persians simultaneously. You're talking about a people that are just, it is one of the most impressive feats of humankind, the invasion of the Middle East by the Arabs, and the defeat, the complete annihilation of the Persian Empire, and the defeat and the push of the Byzantine Empire back to Europe. That was just phenomenal. Nobody has ever done it after. The Ottomans just inherited Arab land, right? The Iranians never, dude, you've been trying to do that for 3,000 years. You barely touched the Mediterranean for like 5 years and you came back. Let's be honest. Whereas we changed the whole demographic of the region, language, religion, culture, absolute defeat and one. And you can't Spain, by the way, Iran cannot be Spained. It cannot be Spained. It cannot be reconquisted. That is how much of a win the Arabs have made in Iran. The Iranians will continue to be Muslim. They will continue to worship Saudi people like Hassan Hussein and Ali and Muhammad. That is a fact. Not all of them, inshallah. I don't want to be sectarian, but that is a fact. That is a fact. So do not kang. I don't want to be an asshole, but do not kang on this, because I always would believe that I won the kang competition.
Yeah, I mean, let's never forget exactly what happened with the Persian Empire. The largest empire basically conquered Eastern Europe, Eastern Saudi Arabia. It went all the way up to Southeastern Europe. Come on, bro. Like it's. I get what you're saying. I mean, but Iran conquered a bunch of the Arab countries.
It is an absolute humiliation for us to actually have an Arab proxy come and work for the Iranians to take the eastern province. That is something we will never allow again. However, it is not. It's actually not as much of an humiliation for you to be absolutely conquered by the Arabs, because it is natural. That is. I think the difference. That is the difference between the two. Ibn Khaldun, the father of sociology, said, Ibn Khaldun, he said, a king will have nomads come into his country, defeat him. The king will be kicked out. The nomads become kings. The nomads become soft, and then they become soft, and a nomad comes and kicks them. The Arabs when they kicked the Persian Empire, they kicked them so bad that it was a home run. I mean, it was a Sammy Sosa, Tony Maguire kind of hit out of the field.
Yeah, let's just after you're done. I understand you want to talk about the past, but the bottom line, Dr. Hotha,
even the present and future, Saudi Arabia has a better situation than Iran. You lost 1,400 years and you lose today. I mean, let's be honest. You're not doing the job today, are you?
Yeah. Hey, to be clear, you get mad when I say that I want Iran to go back to its Aryan culture and extract all Arab influence out of our country. So I don't argue with you. I want to get it all out.
You became a liability. Listen, you were great during the golden age, scientists, whatnot, but now you're just a liability. I would prefer you guys to become Aryan and just get you off our case. Yeah,
Iran had some great poets though too. Omar Khayyam, Hafez, Rumi.
I don't deny it. Beautiful poetry. Not as good as the next Arab one, but still good.
I'm not
You
here
haven't
telling
read
you
any
in
Arab
Egypt
poets.
they have Omar
You
Khayyam
haven't read
Highway.
any Arab poets.
Yeah, it's like me telling you, oh, I was in Egypt. I looked at Omar Khayyam Highway. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you,
Do
oh,
you
it's Iranian
believe the
groceries all over.
Quran? I believe the Quran is divine revelation from God. You obviously don't believe that. And that's it's normal.
I mean,
But the thing that I struggle with, if you don't believe that this is divine revelation from God and believe man wrote it, but yet it took the hearts and souls of so many people around the world, I think that Arab linguistic is just undefeatable, at least in your position. I believe it was divine, right? I don't believe a human made it. But in your position, you can't be a hypocrite. Either this is divine or man made it and we just have the best poets. It's one of the two, Nima. You can't.
Listen, Dr. Hotha, I'm Jewish.
Either you're gonna say it came from God or you're gonna say Arabs are the best poets. You don't have any other choice. Go ahead.
I put it like this. I am Jewish. However, my family's mixed of, mixed background. And my grandfathers were Muslim and they had Muslim faith. So, I think most Muslims, the vast majority of Muslims are good people, man. I don't. The problem is,
I know your position. I
don't. Yeah, I truly, I look at UAE, for example, as one of the countries I admire the most because I think they do a fantastic job. I know that's your favorite country other than Saudi, but for me, I look at the UAE and I say, wow, they do amazing. Now let's get into this clip. This is from a respected program in Israel, your favorite country outside of UAE. About to get in.
הבכירים במשטר האיראני ובהם גם הנשיא פזשקיאן.
So he's saying it in Hebrew. He's saying that we are reporting for the first time on the panic in the Iranian regime, according to a conversation I had today, source close to the IRGC, and he's telling us this. Senior figures in the Iranian regime, President Pezeshkian, are under heavy pressure. They are learning from experience and remember well what happened in Operation Rising Sun. In response to this, they are insisting on restrictive measures, preventing phone calls and meetings, and maintaining extreme caution. And it is also forbidden for people to go inside of the buildings of the Revolutionary Guards when they have a smartphone on them. Then he's saying that So looks like the IRGC is in a defensive posture. That must make you sleep pretty good at night, not having to go in a bunker like the Israelis who sacrifice.
Well, I sleep pretty good at night, knowing I don't have to go in a bunker like the Israelis because I have a leadership that is homegrown and actually think about the best interests of us and not what the imperial entity of the United States wants. That's the difference. Thank God.
Yeah, I mean, but it's not. So I just want to ask.
You know it's the truth.
Bro, I just
look. I'm not denying Israeli success, right? I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that they're not really working for their own. I think if Israel was more independent, more sovereign, they won't do all these things. That's just a fact. By the way, Netanyahu is trying to do that. Israel is trying to stop the American support, right? The American materialistic and financial support, right? They tried to actually stop that. They didn't succeed, but they did actually try to stop that. And I am all for a more independent, sovereign Israel because that would mean it will be less aggressive, knowing that the Baba Empire is not gonna have its back.
I'll be honest with you, Dr. Hotha. I'll be honest with you. I wish you had a
be real honest, Nima. Be real honest. Come on, just be real honest.
I'll be honest with you. I wish you were a little bit more appreciative of all the hard work, the sacrifices the Israelis.
I'm appreciative of the Americans. Thank you, Americans, for knowing how to use your launch pad.
Yeah, but if we're honest, all the sacrifices the Israelis make to go against the big bad bully Iran, the Israelis risk going in bunkers, getting attacked by missiles, and then Saudi Arabia doesn't have to worry about anything.
I feel sorry for them.
It's easy, right? But it's because the Israelis are doing the hard work. They're doing the sacrifice. They're going inside, building networks, collecting human intelligence, going after the nuclear scientists, going after the nuclear program.
It's sad for me. I feel sorry for Judaism. I feel sorry for Judaism and the Jews.
Who's going to protect you when it's just big bad with Iran?
And the men that created this nation will protect us. Nobody protected King Abdulaziz. Nobody protected Mohammed bin Saud. Nobody protected King Faisal. Nobody protected King Fahad. And nobody protected anybody other than the people of this region. During the Gulf War, Iraq, when they attacked Kuwait, yes, we did bring in the Americans. But don't you ever think that the Americans will come in just because they like us or we're good people? They came in for mutual interest, and we know how to play the game, and we played it very well.
Not like you guys got a ton of oil.
Do you know who else has a ton of oil? Do you know who else has a ton of oil? Iran. Do you know who else has a ton of oil? Iraq. Do you know who else has a ton of oil? Venezuela. All of these, Algeria, Nigeria, all of these countries have a lot of oil, Nima, but they're stupid. Excuse my language. They're absolutely
What do you think
stupid. They
about
don't know
this?
how to play the game.
What do you think about this? Someone says, even my Arab friends who speak Farsi admit that Persian is far ahead.
In what manner?
We'll see what he says. He says, one more thing. Mina says, away from politics as a person I do. He says, I can say we love Israel even more today than we did a month ago.
That's interesting that his name is Dawood, which is very Arabic, but that's never mind. Go ahead.
We have Hermes here. He says Nima is Jewish and therefore 100% and exclusively loyal to Israel only. Okay, so I just want to say, you're right. I am Jewish. I am Jewish. Yes, it's my faith. Is Jewish. However, genetically, I'm about 93% Iranian. That's a fact. I have a little bit of Eastern European.
Who are you loyal more to, Israel or Iran? It's a good question by Hermes.
Who am I more loyal to? Well, first of all, I'm America first. I was born in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, it's not even in the competition. I'm just saying Iran or Israel.
I think both countries should have peace, man. I think both countries can have peace, bro.
Most
of the history. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you look at history between Iran and Israel, we're talking about like 2,700 years of history versus 47 years of history with the Islamic Republic, right? So when you
the Umayyad Empire, the Abbasid Empire, were all Muslim, and that was like a few hundred years, Nima. So I don't know what you're talking about. Even the Turkish Safavid Empire was also, Muslim.
Yeah, but the Jews
Qajars were Muslim. Hell, all of them were Islamic, other than the 10 years the British put Pahlavi in. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, but if we're honest, though, Jews were in Iran way earlier than Islam.
Yep, that's true. They were in Isfahan in Iraq. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, so when you think about Iranians, my faith is Jewish, but to suggest that I'm any less of a person who loves Iran than a Zartosh, a Baha'i, a Christian, a Muslim is absurd, or an atheist. I mean, Iranians come from a variety of faiths, man. That's just
if the United States, your country, the United States said, listen, the monarchist Pahlavi is in power now. Now, Nima, you're going to have to choose. Either we're going to be friends with Israel or we're going to be friends with Iran. One is going to be our friend. The other is going to be our enemy. This is your only choices. Which one would you choose?
Yeah, I'm not an Israeli. Okay, so for example, I'm not an Israeli citizen. I have zero affiliation with Israel government. I don't work in Israel. I don't have no affiliation with Israel.
Yeah.
I like Israel. I love Israel. I'm a Jewish person.
Most Jews do.
I love Israel. I think it's a beautiful country. I love Israel. I was just there about 4 or 5 weeks back. I hope to go back in April or May, bring my wife, my daughter, my mom. I like to go 2-3 weeks vacation. It's a nice Mediterranean country. I hope everybody goes. It's a beautiful country.
When it's not doing the dirty job for the Americans. Absolutely. I agree. Go ahead.
And they're doing the dirty job so Saudi can build a nice, billion-dollar city, billion-dollar buildings. You know what I'm talking about. That nice desert city.
The successful don't listen. The successful don't, go in the streets and clean, gutters. They listen. They do what they have to do to, position themselves in the region and get the support of the empire. Everybody got to do their thing. I'm not judging. I just feel sorry. And if I was a Jew, I would always wish, Israel was a sanctuary for the Jews around the world instead of being just a launch pad for the empire. That's very, if I was a Jew, I would be very sad about that.
So let's look we have a nice comment for you. Eye in the sky, since somebody wants to bust my balls. Eye in the sky says, you Saudis can't carry a gun first-hand witness. Woo.
How about this, Nima? Woo. When you come to Saudi, listen, Nima, when you come to Saudi, I'm gonna challenge you to a rifle shot. And if one of us hits the target first, he would have to admit that the other is just a better shot. Either you come to Saudi, or if I come to Miami, I'm going to see the Saudi Arabia or Dubai match in Miami. If we're going to meet, we're going to go to a shooting range, and I will show you that Arabs are just natural-born fighters. But we are restrained. We have restraint. That's all. We have families to take care of, man. You like that, don't you?
I didn't know you shoot like that, bro. I didn't know.
Oh, no, I shoot. I've been shooting since
You,
I was very
you
young.
hunt? You
Well,
hunt?
oh yeah, but we don't have a lot to hunt. We just birds, seasonal. I mostly do like target fun. That's it. But we do hunt, but we have smaller birds. We don't even have bigger birds. So and it's illegal to hunt like the gazelles and that kind of stuff. We don't touch that.
What do you like?
Um,
You ever take a you ever use a AR-15, AR-10?
no, that is not allowed. Firearms are allowed in Saudi Arabia, but not machine guns. Other than that, you can, shotguns, all sorts of rifles, all sorts of handguns. It's absolutely allowed and legal. We have fun with it.
Yeah, you have fun with it. When you start shooting?
I'll send you some videos.
All right.
Let's keep it. Yeah,
All
let's
right,
keep it between us.
I'm about to look at some of the comments here. So Nima, today's choice against this is regime is Israel. Hermes says the hesitation says it all. Hermes, I don't know if he's a guy in Pakistan. He just loves trolling me. He just loves trolling me, bro.
We all got one of those, man.
He gets a hard on just to troll me, So anyway, let's go in here. We got Persian Jews. We got here's another one, but here's another comment. But I'm about to get into a clip from the White House press secretary after this. But I hope we don't fight. We need to be strong together, strong, healthy neighbors, help each other rather than bombing one another. True. We never have to choose ever. You can't divide us. I like that. Mina
What is he
says,
talking? Are they talking about the relationship between Israel and Iran?
maybe. Okay. Go away your rifles. We're talking AKs, M16s. Yeah, there we go. Hey, bro, quick question. Remington 870 or Mossberg 590?
Well, the Remington is probably the OG one and the Toyota, so I'll probably go with that.
All right.
It has to be a winner.
Man. My boy. All right, man. So we got a warrior here, ladies and gentlemen. We got a warrior. He's not just a regular guy. He's a warrior. All right, man. So I have only 3 viewers. Wow, interesting. Good discussion. Hey, man, you know what? We got one of the – actually, on YouTube, I don't know what the heck's going on, man. They suppress everything. I take it you're commenting from YouTube, man. They suppress the heck out of me there. I think they do. I don't know what's going on in YouTube.
It's like 4 a.m. in Saudi, so my people are probably all asleep now. So that's one thing. So we're all, it's not the best. What time is it in Miami right now? It's like 8:39.
9:38. Hold on a second, because I'll tell you something, bro. Hold on. I'm about to do a screenshot here. I get what you're saying. Like this to give you guys an example. Look at this, bro. Look at this. So this is, and shout out to everyone who's been sharing this. Look at that. We got from what I'm looking at, we got the #1 stream right now on X. And what's crazy is we can have the #1 stream on X from what I'm looking at, and then on YouTube have 3 viewers. I mean, I don't get it, man. I don't know why YouTube.
Well, YouTube has a different algorithm. Its algorithm is like clickbaity. It's the sticker that you put. It's kind of it's a different world. Do you have a good YouTube account? I'm not in YouTube, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, but you know what it is, bro? Oh man, I just lost the fucking clip I was gonna play. You know what? Shit, man, I just lost it. All right, so the thing is that on YouTube, I could get and I'm not even exaggerating to you, bro. I could get 100 million views in 90 days. 100 million views, over 100 million views in 90 days on my videos. Okay, videos. Not on X, not like tweets. I'm talking like Instagram, like Facebook.
Right. X has a problem. After 5 days, you're just not circulating anymore. People just can't find it.
No. But on YouTube they got shorts.
Right.
Okay, bro. I literally will not get like anything on that, and I think that they just completely. I don't know if they're just censoring all conservatives, because obviously some conservatives do good, but bro.
What about TikTok? Are you playing around with TikTok?
Man, I used to have 784,000 followers on TikTok. I spoke up against the Chinese Communist Party in 2022. I think it was. I got banned.
No way.
Yeah.
They censored for that reason?
Yeah, they banned me.
Oh God, that's a shame.
Yeah, because I was talking about Chinese Communist Party. But to me, here's the thing. Before I play this clip, so basically, the thing is, man, is that
they're the Israel of TikTok. No, that's a joke. Go ahead.
Nah, man. Well, the thing about YouTube, man, I got the clip. About to play the clip. The thing about YouTube is that even
Iranian
with
regime,
all the
that
followers,
president has many options at his
20K
disposal.
subs,
Aside,
they barely get like 500 views. All right, hold on, let me play this clip, man, because I wanted to play this. I lost my ADHD went off to Richter, bro. I have it like the worst you could probably imagine. All right, here we go. All right.
while these negotiations are taking place, I would remind the Iranian regime.
This is the press secretary of the White House, President Trump.
While these negotiations are taking place, I would remind the Iranian regime that the president has many options at his disposal, aside from diplomacy, as the commander-in-chief of the most powerful military in the history of the world. While these negotiations are taking place, I would remind the Iranian.
Yeah, what do you think?
I think they're saying, listen, if you don't agree with what we demand, we are going to attack. And what they demand looks like something the Iranians are not going to agree on. So attack it is. The question is not that. The question is it going to be a 12-day war kind of situation or something more aggressive? The more aggressive could be very possible, but I don't know. I'm still betting on the 12-day war kind of situation. What about you?
I think we're going in, man. I think we're going in. And I think it's almost over, man. Like
Iraq deja vu's. We don't want that though.
I don't want my people, man. I don't want my people getting massacred, bro. Like I think.
But can you guarantee an aggressive American intervention will get less Iranians killed? Like, can you say that verbatim, like for sure? I don't think anybody can claim that.
I think any Iranian that doesn't support a U.S. attack and isn't supportive of Israel attacking the IRGC at this point is basically an accomplice in a genocide.
I can't. I mean, what about the Iranians that say, listen, man, I'm not going to root for a foreign entity?
If you're Iranian. No, if you're Iranian.
I know, but what if an Iranian says, listen, man, I'm all for like removing the regime, but how do you want me to like celebrate a foreign entity to attack my country? It's hard for people, some proud people to do that, especially that live there. I mean, it's understandable. At least not.
So now we got this is breaking. We got the U.S. I feel like we get these nonstop, honestly, at this point. But the U.S. State Department is saying to Americans to leave Iran now, have a plan for departing.
I thought they meant Khamenei. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, no, they're saying if you cannot leave, find a secure location within your residence or another safe building. Have a supply of food, water, medications, and other essential items. Avoid demonstrations. Keep a low profile and stay aware of your surroundings. This is from the State Department, and it's just saying basically leave Iran now.
I mean, the Americans that are there are mostly probably Iranians in origin that want to be a part of this. Probably, I would assume.
I mean, honestly, bro, I feel like I'm gonna go. I would love to go back to Iran to help rebuild. Personally, I'm of the opinion that going back to Iran is something
it would be gold for investments. If the old regime goes, something new comes back, it's going to be cheap as hell. They want dollar bills. They want hard currency. It's going to be a very good chance for investment. You know, Iran is a very fertile environment for development. So I think it's smart.
You think MBS would come in there and invest in Iran to help rebuild?
I think that is possible. I mean, again, Iran, if a stable regime comes in power, a stable government comes in power, and they're not aggressive against others, again, Iran is a very fertile environment for investment. It is very underinvested. It's very underdeveloped to its potential. So that is very appetite is high for these kind of environments for investors that have cash and want to invest somewhere. So yeah, absolutely. If they invested in Egypt and in Syria, I mean, we just did a 12. What is it like? I think 3 billion or 4 billion, something like that, in Syria dollars just a few days ago. I mean, Iran would probably have a very good chance of investments as well.
All right, so
we're not doing this as favors, you know. We're doing that mutual interest. All right.
Yeah, so I'm about to play a clip. It seems it looks like maybe Saudi Crown Prince MBS is openly calling for revenge against Israel over the Qatar attack. If you remember, this was
destabilize the security and stability of the region.
This was in September.
Seriously.
Huh? Yeah, this was in September. I want to see what you think, and what do you think, and how does this play into your prediction?
I remember
of what's, yeah, and how does this play to this prediction? I'm about to play it now.
And we reject and condemn the actions of the occupying authority, Mossad of Israel in the region, the latest of which is the brutal aggression against the sister state of Qatar, which requires an Arab, Islamic, and international response to confront this aggression, and to take international measures to stop the occupying authority and deter it from its
100%.
criminal practices that destabilize the security and stability of the region. We will stand with the sister state of Qatar in whatever measures it takes without limit, and we will dedicate all our resources. Therefore, we also condemn the continued brutal assaults on our Palestinian brothers in Gaza and the persistence in committing crimes of starvation and forced displacement.
At that time, we weren't, we didn't solve all of our problems with Qatar. We were still, a bit, not seeing through on most things. However, I remember what I told you in the beginning of this podcast. I said, there are two things that the GCC is about: national security of GCC countries and that open trade that we have with each other. And that was one of them. Qatar getting attacked, Qatari citizen dying, innocent civilian. That was a red line for Saudi Arabia. Just like Kuwait was a red line when Iraq tried to invade it, even though the Kuwaitis, didn't listen to us before that, but they sure do listen to us now, right? And I think the Qataris came closer because of what happened now. I think that is non-negotiable. GCC security, including Emirat, including UAE, right? Even though we have a tough situation now, including that, the sacred code of GCC, security is non-negotiable. And I think Prince MBS said it, and he means it. And by the way, we said it again in a statement from the foreign ministry that an attack on Qatar will be considered an attack on us. And I will double down and say our foreign minister just went to Qatar a few days ago to ensure that Qatar is part of the security fold of Saudi Arabia, and any attack on Qatar is considered an attack on Saudi Arabia, no less than that. And that was we mean it. And I think that if an attack was not collaborated with Qatar, like the one that happened last time, which attacked the base, Qatar knew about it. It wasn't killing anybody. But if any attack from Iran was to attack residential areas or places that were not talked about beforehand, that will be considered attack on Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia did mention in a statement that they will respond. This is the part where that gives me fears. I don't want that to happen. I don't want us to be sucked in. And if we would be sucked in, this would be the scenario: Bahrain or Qatar or the UAE getting attacked. And I wish that doesn't happen.
Why do you think Al Tahini just does a good job charming MBS? Because he looks like he's the alpha male, so to speak. Like
you think so? You think so?
Well, here's I'm not an Arab, and I don't know the Iranian Gulf as much as you do because you're right there. I'm here in Miami Beach, but it looks like out of the Arabs in the Iranian Fars Gulf, it looks
Arabian
like
Gulf?
Iranian Gulf, yeah, the Fars. It's the correct pronunciation.
I just feel sorry for you. I mean, we already have the Arabian Sea. I'm just gonna let you say it. I'm not gonna hurt your feelings. Go ahead.
Thank you, bro.
Gotta give you something. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm a deep Iranian, bro. I say Iranian Gulf. I say Fars Gulf. I don't say Persian. I go deep. Listen.
I actually like Iranian Gulf more than Persian Gulf. Obviously, Arabian Gulf is supreme, or Gulf of Arabia even better. But Iranian Gulf just sounds better than Persian Gulf. Persian just sounds Greek, man. Yeah, I think you said it or somebody else said it. Yeah, I agree.
I say that. I don't know if you know that. That's what I say.
No. You're the one that put this in my head. You're absolutely right. I do agree. However, it's not better than Arabian Gulf or Gulf of Arabia, but Iranian Gulf is definitely better than the Persian Gulf. You said something about the dynamics between Al Thani and the House of Saud. Al Thani come from a small village town in the center of Arabia, right? They came into power in the 1900s as a protectorate of the British. Right, Saudi Arabia controls most of the Arabian Peninsula. Qatar is barely the size of one city, which is Riyadh. What are you talking about, right? Qatar, is in a position where they're, I would used to say that they were an all-to-count satellite state of the United States. All right, I refrain from saying that now, but this is what I used to say. Now, having said that, you cannot compare that with Saudi Arabia. You just can't. There's no way. Mohammed bin Salman came into power by his dominance. Didn't come to power because he was in line. No, he came to power because he proved himself. He pushed everybody aside, came into power, and thank God that happened.
It's interesting, man. Like out of like all these people that do talk about the Middle East, I feel pretty secure when I talk about it, man. Like I feel like like in the West, I'm in Miami Beach, I'm in the West, right? I'm Middle Eastern, but I'm in the West. I was born and raised here. I feel like I can talk to Arabs like you. Like I don't feel I need to prove to anyone that I'm a Middle Eastern person or I'm Iranian or I'm Jewish. Like I don't have those insecurities.
That's an American thing, man. You guys have that a little bit too much, right?
Yeah, like
You
I
think
don't
so?
feel like I have the insecurities that the other guys do. Like I feel like I think the actual Iranian people, I think they know I'm as Iranian as Iranian can get, bro. Like my name is Nima, as a famous poet.
Ni'mah means blessing. Doesn't it mean blessing?
I don't know. I
Ni'mah?
don't know. My last name's
I'm sorry to tell you, Nima. I'm sorry to tell you, but your name is Arabic, man. Just one of many, man. It means blessing. This is the cultural remnants, the cultural domination remnants. A Jew having an Arab name. I mean, I don't want to rub it in. I don't want to rub it in. Let's just move on. Let's just move on. We're talking about MBS. Listen, he has. I mean, Saudis. No need for me to say this, but I only say this because it's the fact. He is extremely popular between the Saudis. We love him. We love him. Social changes in the past. Sorry?
Al Tahini, the leader of Qatar.
Well, it's not Al Tahini, it's Al Thani, and no, I'm talking about MBS, the king, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, future king. He is really loved by Saudis. He really is really loved by Saudis. Women change rights, social changes, economy, vision. I mean, if you talk to the regular Saudi, right, people my age, for instance, they would say, I have security in the next 30, 40 years, knowing a man, with that mentality, that vision to the future is running the country, right? Not somebody from a generation that has skills that are not necessarily needed today. Very valuable skills, but not skills necessarily needed today. He is a gentleman that does have the skill needed for today, and he's doing a fantastic job. And he has an approval rating sky high. Sky high. The patriarch of the Qatar family is not Tamim, which is the current Emir. It is his father, which is Hamad. He overthrew his father in the 1990s and really turned Qatar around. Qatar before that was basically run from the private account of the Emir. This guy came and actually created it to be a state. It was an outshoot of Saudi Arabia, but it changed. It became its own independent thing. If I was Qatari, I would probably praise Hamad, the father of Tamim, as being really the guy that changed the country, put it on the map. Tamim inherited that.
Yeah. So you think what? So what are you thinking though? You're thinking overall the MBS. You think he did a good job winning over MBS? Because it seems like MBS sort of just likes Al Tahini a lot, but I would imagine there's conflict.
It's Al Thani. It's Al Thani. Tahini is a sauce that you use. His name is Al Tamim Al Thani. But let me say this. No, it's not about winning anybody off. We understand the role Qatar is playing in the region, and we understand the relationship between Qatar and the United States. And the United States is a close friend of Saudi Arabia, right? It's not a secret. I think Qatar is playing a role that today is in the best interest of Saudi Arabia, and we understand that, and we're working with that. That's all it is. And again, when it comes to GCC security, that is non-negotiable. Again, everything goes off. Remember when Saudi Arabia said and claimed, Emirat, what is happening in Yemen is a threat to our national security. The response from the UAE was very clear. We don't, fuck around with national security of any GCC country. We're out, and they left, right? And this is where the line is put on the sand. You can fight in Somalia, you can fight there, but when it comes to the GCC, it's non-negotiable. National security is for everyone.
All right, so about to get back into the clip.
Palestinian brothers in Gaza.
MBS, the leader of Saudi Arabia,
and the persistence in committing crimes of
I can't hear anything. I don't know if you can.
Brothers and
I can't hear. I think the internet is bad or something. Can you hear me?
which we devote all our care.
Dr. Hotha. Okay, guys, I think we're having a little bit of technical issues. Dr.
Okay.
Dr.
Fine.
Hotha, you there?
Yeah, we're back. I lost you. I don't know what
Yeah.
happened. I have to go get out and come back in.
No, I think it was a technical issue.
Yeah.
I think it was a technical issue. Okay, hold on a second, man. The Wi-Fi, I think, maybe went down.
I think it's from your side. I'm doing good.
Yeah, you're good? All right. Shit, man, it's gone. It's gone. Dang. Yeah, it's gone.
That was the discussion. That was a very strong speech by him. Spoke about all the positions of Saudi Arabia. And when you listen to him, Nima, this is what I'm talking about. This is a guy that cares about the best interest of his own people, the best interest and future of Saudi Arabia, not playing the game of, being a sort of tool like Israel is, or some other countries that might be friends or not friends in the region. I think he's very sovereign, very clear. We have our weight in the region, Nima. And we have been very smart to sort of navigate the powers of the world and the foes of the region. Been very smart to not abuse our resources or our religious stretch. And I think Saudi Arabia historically done a fantastic job. Listen, I'm not merely only proud of our glorious history. I'm more proud of our ambitious future. I think that I'm very serious here. And I think Mohammed bin Salman is really ambitious about our future, and that's what counts. This is Erdogan in Riyadh.
So what's going on with Turkey, man? Tell me the good stuff, bro. Dude,
Well,
tell me what's going on with Saudi. Turkey's a little bit sketchy, man. They're like playing both sides of the fence.
Well, they have full relations with Israel, the biggest trade partner with Israel in the region. We all know that. However, Turkey and Saudi Arabia have had a very antagonistic relationship in the past, all the way back to the inception of Turkey post Ottoman Empire. However, today both of us are in a situation where both of our interests are mutually the same, right? Like in Somalia, we agree. In Yemen, we agree. In Sudan, we agree. In Syria, we agree. There's nothing really we disagree on, right? Especially after they took, their hands a little bit, they took their leg off the pedal when it comes to Muslim Brotherhood crazy, right? They really did. And so did Qatar. And this was all after Trump came in power, which is a good thing. And I think we see eye to eye, into everything else. There's no problem. So it makes sense for us. Makes sense for them. It's actually good. We have to thank Israel and the UAE for that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just sort of like you think Turkey has the capability of basically, the terrorist bully with Qatar if Iran's collapsed and it's a free Iran. What do you fear more?
Would be the terrorist bully to Qatar?
Yeah, let's say like Iran is free, it's pro-West, but then you got Turkey, Erdogan, you got Al Tahini in Qatar, you got Pakistan. What do you think? What do you think? You think Saudi's going to
It looks like pre-1979 to me. I mean, we've been there, done that. Fantastic. We love it. Just don't lose power to another scholar. Just focus on that. We'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah. But who do you think Saudi would join? Israel in a free Iran or Qatar?
I think Saudi has always been a pole. I think Saudi has always been a pole, and it will remain a pole. I think that today we cannot deny Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Qatar, and even farther we have Pakistan being a pole in the region. Egypt coming into it as well. Even Jordan coming into it as well. I think that that is versus the Israeli slash Somaliland and the UAE. It's not a very good lineup, to be honest. I mean, who else is on that side? The Kurds, they don't have a country. The Druze, I mean, they're part of Syria. I mean, you don't really have anybody else. It's basically Israel, UAE. And to be honest, I'm gonna be funny here a little bit insulting, but I feel sorry for the Israelis when they cling on that UAE relationship. I mean, it's like the UAE is like, dude, just relax a little bit, but stop, like, just I am your friend, but that not that much. You don't have to say my name like every 5 minutes. It's kind of, dare I say, a little bit pathetic, man. It's cringe. It's cringe. That's all I'm saying. Just relax a bit in your friendship with the UAE, just a little bit.
What
You're
for
putting too much
Israel?
pressure on them.
What for Israel?
No, for the UAE, I mean, you're like, it's like, you're going around telling everybody you're the UAE's friend. We all know, man, it's cringe. Stop doing that.
No. Yeah, I feel like Saudi. You guys. It's interesting that you guys.
We have a lot of friends. Your only friend is the UAE. It's sad. It's just sad. In the region, at least.
Yeah. Well, India's our friend.
Exactly.
Azerbaijan's our friend. Bahrain's our friend. Greece is our friend. Cyprus is our friend.
Bahrain has relations. Listen, sir.
We're not doing that bad.
Somebody. Listen, somebody that looks at you after you say his name is not necessarily your friend, right? Bahrain has relations with you. Doesn't mean like you're all buddy. UAE, yeah, I'll give you your friend. You do exaggerate it. It sounds like you guys are engaged, but you are friends, right? You are friends. But Bahrain, it's just all Bahrain said is, yeah, man, you're a country. Hi, how you doing? My name is Bahrain. That's it. It's not a big deal.
I think Israel also has Saudi as a friend. If you really think about it, who
I think they lost. I think they're absolutely.
Behind the scenes who's doing the for the Saudis.
What?
Everybody knows. What?
What?
The Israelis help the Saudis a lot more than they get credit for. Israelis.
They help them with absolutely nothing. I promise you. They help them with absolutely nothing. And what we got from the United States, listen, what we got from the United States, we got it with cash and money.
I'm going to let you save face like you embarrassed the Jewish guy.
Nima. We don't have a qualitative edge. We don't have a qualitative edge like you do. What we get with our money, Nima. We get with our, just like how you buy your Mercedes. No German guy is going to come and say, hey, man, look at that Mercedes. I made that. All right. I have favor on you. No, man. I gave you money. It's mine now. Get the hell out of my face. That's what Saudi Arabia does. And our right, absolutely our right to do that.
But we all know how much Israel helps you guys, protect you.
Well, we all know Israel's not a real country anyway. It's just an alt-account of the United States, a jihadi launch pad. I mean, listen, when we were doing the negotiations with Israel, we never even talked to Israel. We were talking to the real guy, the United States, where the decisions are made, right? Our normalization process with Israel was not with Israel. It was with corporate.
Hey, bro, it was with
corporate. It was with the United States.
That's a pretty cute New York Times article, man. Thanks, bro.
Which one?
That's a pretty cute. That's a pretty cute how you said that. All right, bro. All right, so you look at the comments.
It's the truth.
Mina said, Mina says, I was reading actually someone Iranians told me Pakistan was okay when Shah was in charge. The Iranians told me too. Ayatollah came, Pakistan was not wanted anymore. India came close. I mean, there's no doubt about it, man. There's truly no doubt about it when you look at the tech superiority and the powerhouse of Israel, how India, with about 1.3 billion people, has such a beautiful.
India lost the war against Pakistan just a year ago. They didn't achieve what they wanted to achieve. I mean, Pakistan is a country 1/10 the size of India, has a population 1/10 the size of India, and the Indians can't achieve what they want to achieve every single time. The Pakistanis have landed, I think, a few Rafales. I mean, listen, I'm not going to glaze the Pakistanis. They've done a horrible job with their economy and their development of their country, right? Not, a lot of problems and issues. I'm not here to glaze, but we'll give credit where credit is due. Their military is very capable. That is a fact.
I mean, the fact that Pakistan has to keep getting bailed out.
It's worth it. Again, they have a very capable military. Listen, Saudi Arabia bails out a lot of countries. It's not just Pakistan. We bail out Egypt. We've bailed out Morocco. We've bailed out Sudan. We've bailed out, what's his name? Bahrain. We've bailed out Syria. I mean, we've been bailing out people right and left. It's something that we do all the time. At least Pakistan has something to offer you, man. And at least they paid it back with the J1s that they gave us. So
they couldn't even pay you back. You had to take the military hardware, bro.
Well, good. I think that was a good deal.
Okay, so let's just take that a step back here, real quick. Here, let's just take this one step back. All right. And thanks for staying late, man. If it's cool, we do like another 10 more minutes if it's all right. We've gone late.
I think I can do 10 more minutes max because
yeah. I know you got to go to sleep, bro. I know you got to go to sleep, but
it's weekend, but still, we do got to sleep. Go ahead.
If thank you, bro. So you say that Pakistan could not take India when in fact, and you're a Saudi.
I think they could take India.
Yeah, you're in Saudi, and you're saying that Pakistan took India, and India could not take Saudi. When the bottom line is India's economy is literally 10 times bigger, bro. India literally has like
not 10 times bigger.
Hold on, India literally has the number 1 or number 2 most biggest.
You want to hear something funny?
Hold on, the fastest growing economy. Not to mention that Pakistan keeps getting bailed out. Even you in Saudi, you had to take the military because they defaulted on their loan. They only survived because of the IMF, bro. They only survived because of the IMF. And they have brave soldiers. I'll give Pakistan that, but they rely completely on communist China. Pakistan's nothing without communist China, bro. Nothing without communist China. India can play offense, defense.
What is the GDP? What is the GDP of India?
They can play deterrence. They can do all of that at once. India's on the verge of being the number 1 superpower in the world.
What's the GDP? What's the GDP of India right now? What is it? 3 trillion? I assume. Can you check it out? I want to check it.
It's a lot bigger than the failing economy of Pakistan that has to count on the IMF.
That is true. That is true. But I want to say something important.
They pay you back. You got to take their used up military.
Good. Thank you, Pakistan. But let me tell you this. The difference.
By the way, Pakistan's not even a real country, bro. Before
yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's way more real than India ever was. It's way more real than India ever was. At least the people that ruled Pakistan actually ruled all of India. The Indians that rule India never actually ruled India as a country as a whole. It was made by the British for them. The British put the Indians in power, right? The Pakistanis, the Mughal Empire, ruled all of India, not by the British, by their own hand. So if we want to talk legitimacy, you cannot say the Indians have more legitimacy than the Pakistanis. That is not true at all. Now, having said that, I just want to say one point. The GDP of India, I forgot, but I think, what is it, like $3-4 trillion, right? That the X times of difference between the size of Saudi Arabia's economy and India is almost the same as the X time of difference between Saudi Arabia's economy and Israel. But the difference is that India has 1.4 trillion people. 1.4 billion people, while Saudi Arabia has 34 million, with only 22 million citizens. Israel is, half that. So I think we win in both of those, right? GDP, not comparable. They're not even that much bigger economy. Israel has half our population, but less than half our economy. I think Israel has been pumped up and blown up a little bit too much. It's not that, dude. It's not that, dude. You have the economy of Qatar, or Kuwait and Qatar. It's nothing. The UAE is a bigger economy. UAE is like an alt account. Saudi Arabia.
Israel had to build on nothing. Saudi had all that oil. If you took the average person in Israel and the average person in Saudi, the average person in Israel outperforms the person in Saudi on tech productivity. Let
me ask you a question.
It's not even close.
How did the Israelis get a country? Bro,
the GDP of the guys in Israel is definitely higher than Saudi.
It's not true. Actually, no. But let me say this.
The only thing you guys got in Saudi, if we're honest, everybody knows this too. Everybody knows.
Really? Do everybody know that? Well, let me correct everybody.
No,
it's just you and your friends. But let me say this.
Israel has tech, it has AI, it has cybersecurity that protects you in the oil field.
Silicon Valley, absolutely. Whatever. Just give me a chance. Give me a second.
It has it's just biotech, semiconductors. I don't know.
Go ahead.
That, gives you a country a cutting edge.
Listen, I admit I am so confident and happy with where we are that I don't have to deny you these successes. You do have that, no problem. But let me say this. The Israelis were created because of a British mandate in 1948, right? Saudi Arabia was created by King Abdulaziz and the Bedouin nomad warriors that were fighting with him. When King Abdulaziz created Saudi Arabia, they had no oil. When King Abdulaziz ran Saudi, you read his book and you know that. When King Abdulaziz ran Saudi Arabia, he had no oil. when we were fighting against the British vassals, the Hashemite, there was no oil, and we had our sovereignty even before King Abdulaziz fighting the Ottomans. There was no oil, right? Oil came in later, and listen, we kept our promise to this land and protected this land, never abandoned this land. This land paid us back with something inside its tummy, and I think it's what the people that have endured the arid climate of the Arabian Peninsula deserve.
I mean, if we're honest here, wouldn't you say that Saudi needs America a lot more than Israel needs America?
No, absolutely not. Saudi Arabia has choices.
Let's
Israel
have honest
doesn't have any
conversations,
choice.
bro.
Listen, Israel is a functional. Israel is a functional country for the imperial powers. It's either compare Israel to Qatar. Wait. Compare alt account to alt account. That is a discussion I can take with you. But you can't get Saudi Arabia to this. It's not even. It's kind of like it's not fair. It's not fair for Israel. If you want to make it fair for Israel, don't even compare Israel to the UAE. UAE has some sovereignty. Compare Israel to Qatar. Let's have that discussion. That is a discussion we can talk about. I'm serious. I'm not trying to be mean. Israel does not have sovereignty. They don't take decisions based on the best future of the Jewish people or the Israeli people. It is on the imperial interest of the agenda, foreign policy of the United States in the region. It's not a secret. And if you really love Israel, listen, if you really love Israel, you will admit that. You will admit that because, it's a hard reality, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Until Israel really, really works for its own interest, then it's not. Don't talk to me about it being sovereign. It's not. It's a functional entity, alt account of the United States. It
Who's
plays
going
a
to
role.
protect you from the big bad boys in the Houthi and the Houthi?
The same men that protected us from the Hashemites and the British vassal, the same men that killed the emissary of the British, our Lawrence of Arabia, the same people that fought the Ottomans for 300 years, the men of Arabia.
But those guys in Yemen could just keep attacking you, bro.
Nima,
They could just keep attacking
no
you.
one. It's okay. It's okay. It's fine. Been there, done that.
Attacks, bro.
Fine. It's okay. Been there, done that.
How are you gonna make money? How are you gonna make money?
We're not going to make money. We're going to fight. This is what's going to happen. If this is the reality we're in, this is the reality we're in. We're as stubborn as a motherfucker.
Yeah, but those interceptors cost you a lot of money, man.
Okay. Well,
they cost you millions of dollars per intercept, and they just keep.
I know it's hard for you to understand, but a Saudi will never run away. You do understand that we believe if we die here, if we die in our land,
Yemen just bro. Those guys in Yemen can just keep banging out those drones and missiles.
And if not for the United States stopping us, we would have ended that. But you need a boogeyman, and the United States needs a boogeyman, and that's the reality of the world. Hegemon wants, hegemon gets. What can we say? But listen. Why do you think that war stopped? Why do you think that war ended? It's not. Listen, this is a fact. This is a fact. It's not even an opinion. It's not something we've discussed. Saudi Arabia withdrawal from Yemen because the United States gave it an ultimatum. Either you withdraw, or I'm not selling you those interceptors. So those little missiles you're talking about actually become a threat, right? So we had no choice. And this is the fact of the matter. But Nima, listen, it's always fun talking to you. I just feel like, come prepared in the Kangen flexing thing next time. It's too easy. It's too easy, man. I think it's too easy. You not knowing your name is Arabic was just, I think it was the cherry on top of the cake, man.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Saudi Arabia is mostly, look at this big map. You like to look at the big map and say all of Saudi Arabia, mostly desert. And, I'm glad that you and I can have a conversation about how, Saudi Arabia definitely needs America, our forces.
No, we need no one. America needs our money. America needs our oil. We need each other.
The U.S. Navy protects the oil shipping.
The Americans are not stupid enough to help us because we're nice or we look good, or as we say in Arabic, because of the blackness of our eyes. They don't do that. They help you because there's mutual interest. Let's be honest. I do want to say this before I go. The desert you're talking about and you think is worthless. We understand it today as being the most resourceful place in Earth, having the most valuable resources from rare earth minerals to oil. Thank God. Have a good night, Nima.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Please share, retweet, share this stream podcast coming out tomorrow on iTunes and Spotify with Dr. Hotha. Thank you, guys.
All right. Always, Nima. Thank you. Have a good one.
All right.